recording. And we've got an intro to play in 3, 2, 1.
I need to escape this nightmare.
Hello and welcome to Core. This is Core, talking about video games so that you can as well, I guess. Thursday, October 26th? Yes, 26th, 2023. Had to make sure that was correct. We're always professional here. I'm Scott Johnson with Bo Schwartz and John Jagger. We have a bunch of stuff to talk about. Right up top, there's a little concern out there that there might be some what we're terming ghost beef. All right? There's really nothing to it. In fact, I can kind of explain. So on Twitter, Ghostcrawler said the following in response to somebody had said a thing. He was going off about game design and their plan with his new company and kind of their philosophies and stuff moving forward. And one of the last ones he said was, also, ain't nobody here wants to be in development for 8 to 10 years. That's why we left the legacy publisher model. And someone in our community wrote and replied, this is all on x.com. You might be familiar with x.com. John, you like
Twitter.
that?
Familiar with
Twitter.
xxx.com.
Oh, hey.
Oh, man.
Yeah. Is there an X? You know how there's a XXX top-level domain now? I wonder if anyone has xxx.xxx.
I wonder if anybody has Vin Diesel
HTTPS www.xxx.com is xxxx free porn videos at xxx.com.
I'm shocked by
Clips
this.
of beep, sex, hot girls, MILF,
Yeah.
beep, jobs, hardcore movies with beep, 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 and beep. I don't
You know what sounds
else
worse
to
than the
say.
real thing? Beep jobs. That sounds terrible, doesn't it? You want to get a beep job? Oh, man. Well, anyway,
It's an ASMR move.
so this guy
Someone just
says,
goes into here and goes beep.
this guy Jesse says, it would be the coolest if you went on Core Pod to talk to these guys about this. Friendly environment to dip your toe in the idea of more transparency. Greg wrote back, I don't even like those guys, though. And then Ghost Beef happened after that or ensued. He
assume that was a gauntlet being thrown down.
He listens to this show. He likes us a lot. So I want to make sure people know he was blowing some smoke. But I also have a secret about Greg that I can't talk about for a while, and that'll even make it'll illustrate even more.
That sounds so much worse. You're like, and I know a secret.
Not a brag or a
not about
justification?
things that he's doing, not about the projects he's working on, not about his job, not about anything like that. Just a Greg secret.
I'll say it
That
this
was-
way:
that
the
was an
secret.
explanabrag, John.
Well, here, okay. The secret I have is very cool and will further illustrate how much he likes us and is not. There is no beef, is what I'm saying. Zero
I'm
beef.
very curious what he's working on. I've followed his Twitter account for a long time. I like he's a good tweeter.
Yeah.
Guess he's a good game developer too. He's worked on big projects. So this smacks of being more intimate than most of his projects, at least that I'm aware of, because it's a smaller team.
Oh, for
He's
sure.
working with Holinka too, right?
Yeah, Brian
So-
Link is over there now, and he's got I think
Yeah,
5 or 6 people or ex Blizzard and some ex Riot as well. But yeah,
Really curious. They have a lot of energy. Definitely giving off the MMO vibes. Interesting also. You know, with a lot of Blizzard alumni.
Is what you mean? I think you meant alumni, right? You meant alumni. That's the word you
Yeah,
meant.
I mean, he's done Age of Empires and stuff too, right?
Sure.
If I'm not mistaken.
Yeah, he was
so,
with what was they were called? Not Creative Assembly. What were they called? Shit. Something
my
cool.
brain's no working very good today. Sorry if I get stuff wrong.
Yeah.
But the point is he's interesting follow on Twitter. He participates in interesting games, and not just interesting that he's departed one MMO, departed another MMO, right, and now is making
His
an
own.
MMO and has lots of thoughts and opinions on how to do it. And we're all kind of waiting to see, like, what is this? Is this the one? Like, MMOs are kind of passe unless you're, playing one of the big ones right now. There's no, it's a tough thing, and I'm really interested to see what they're working on. It's exciting.
It's
I
going to
guess
be
is what I'm
great.
trying to say.
And for context, this is how that thread started. It says, I know it's typical to just talk about studio values and stuff, but we are actually going to talk about the game. And some of you will ask how can you talk about a game so early? And we will say yes. Yes, things will change, and that's the point. We want time to react to feedback. Also, ain't nobody got time for 8 to 10 year development timeframes. So, from what I can tell you about what they're working on, I can tell you that they are they're trying to break from the traditional MMO thing. Means you just need gigantic company lattice work to get it done, and they don't think so. And I agree with them. I think they can do.
He's tweeted as much. Where he said there's a lot of bloat.
Smart.
Yeah. They want
a
to
lot of
avoid
bloat
that.
in terms of just whatever it is, the corporate structure and whatever.
Yeah, corporate bloat.
I'm a podcaster.
Yeah, welcome to podcasting.
I use my words to explain things poorly.
Yeah.
I mean, I think in general, I think this is a major problem with gaming. We've alluded to it here and there. I've said I think there's a bubble. I think the bubble's going to break because I think we're in a weird place where games are extremely expensive to make. Games take a very, very long time to make for AAA, like not talking about indies. And right now, as a result of that, one of the big moves is to chase trends. How can you chase a trend if you have an 8 to 10 year development cycle?
Right.
Those trends are gone by the time you get there, which means that the only new games we see either have to be hitched to an existing property or hitched to an existing idea because, again, trend chasing.
Yeah.
And like that's not sustainable. Like, especially because indie games, as the tools get better and better, they're going to come in and they're going to eat your lunch constantly because they're going to move quicker. They're going to be more agile.
Yeah.
They can actually trend chase and can capitalize on it. And we saw, I can't remember the name of the game. People were trying to recommend it to us. It was a very simplistic looking shooter, but it was like massive scale. And apparently it was a type of game that Activision was trying to make a game, either Activision or EA. They were trying to make a game in that same vein. And they were years in development, and some indie studio put it out, and it got all the attention and all the traction. And like, I think that's going to become more and more common. And you're just going to see these big companies say, well, we're not going to put money behind that project because it doesn't seem financially viable. Like, it'd be better for us to just, invest in something that's microtransaction to hell, or that's just for mobile, the kinds of stuff we as gamers don't like. And I'm worried that that's the direction we are going to go. BattleBit, yes, that's it.
Oh, BattleBit, right? Yeah, and then
and
Battlefield comes later, and everyone's like, "Oh, Battlefield," but BattleBit was like, "Oh, gee."
Yeah. And so I think that that's the bubble that I'm worried is going to burst. And it's going to, unless we can kind of roll back our expectations on what AAA is at the same time as developers can stop chasing that AAA, dream and vision. Like, everything has to step back a little bit. It has to be quicker. You have to be able to take chances. You have to be able to appeal to your audience. And it requires a lot of things, again, that don't want to change, or we're all going to be playing indie games, which, I mean, indie games are great, but
Sure.
I don't want to see AAA games go away.
I definitely don't. No,
So
I mean, if you
how
look
is
at
this Greg Street's fault?
not his,
It
at
is
all.
Greg's fault. So
It's
in
not his.
conclusion, Greg Street caused this problem, and it's his job to fix
Yeah,
it.
you better fix it, Greg. I know you're listening. Here's the other example I would use. If you look at one of the biggest trends of recent years, it's impossible to ignore how big battle royale games became, and they did so on the back of essentially an indie, which at the time it's a much bigger game now, but PUBG was a small effort with very few people involved, and that thing took off so quickly.
Yeah, it only involved player unknown.
I think originally, it was just a dude. And then, it got real popular real quick. And then what happened? Well, then all the big studios figured out everything. So Fortnite pivots from this weird survival game to being the number one battle royale in the world. Warzone is another reaction to that. Really, any of those games that came and some went, Apex is still around, but some of them have already come and failed and left. But they're all on the backs of that innovation. And the innovation rarely comes out of the big company. Like, even World of Warcraft came out of a much smaller Blizzard, a much, much smaller Blizzard. And then everybody trying to play MMO keep up for a decade was riddled with failures from companies with lots of money to try to make it happen. And only a few squeak through in the end that, are still successful. So there is this thing that's always been true. The little guy will do some weird innovation, and sometimes those little guys become big. They become huge. They become BioWare. They start small, scrappy BioWare, blow everybody's mind, and before you know it, they're owned by a conglomerate, and they become kind of impotent, and nobody cares anymore, like they are now. But I agree with you. There's a like, I was looking at PS3 numbers the other day. PlayStation 3's era of Sony's published titles, because I was thinking about Spider-Man and stuff. They had so many more first-party Sony Studio releases during the PS3's run than we got anywhere close to in the PS4 run or PS5 so far. And the only answer I have for that is that's a showing of this bubble you're talking about. Like, you can only keep that up for so long, and you have to start being more picky and choosy about what you're going to make. I don't know. That whole thing's kind of fascinating. So we like to bring it up here when we think of these things. Also,
So there's no beef.
there's no beef. It's zero beef. There's no. In fact, if anything, if there's beef, it's being barbecued nicely. It's got a nice rub on it.
Nice.
Yeah, it's a good beef. All right, that we
Sounds
have with
great.
Greg. Greg's a good
So
beefer.
we have to.
We're having Greg over for dinner. We're all gonna get together. This sounds amazing.
Yeah,
Actually.
my dinner at Greg's, or no, my dinner at Ghost Crawlers. That'd be a fun little series, wouldn't it?
Yeah.
Maybe not. Lilith
You can
statue.
make him weird eggs.
Yeah. Oh yeah. Hell yeah, dude. I made real food this week.
Oh, get a Quest 3 and make.
I
You
heard
guys-
you made real food.
I
You
did.
really
I was
You
really
got
proud of
pictures.
myself. What are you gonna say, Bo?
I was going to suggest making weird eggs with the Quest 3.
Oh, I'll do that. Hell yeah. How easy is it to record is it recording straight to the SSD
You
or
just
whatever?
press the meta button and then press the record button. It doesn't record in depth perception like 180 style.
Right.
It
It's just like
records
film.
flat, but still it records from your headset.
See, I need a good
That's what I-
POV.
That actually would be great for cooking, like
Yeah.
tutorials and streams.
And
That'd be
you'd have you
awesome.
could
I'm
put up
pretty
next to it the recipe
Live
screen and
stream from
whatever.
My headset. I'm pretty sure I can live stream from my head, like, because I can cast it to my PC and then cap it on OBS and just live stream
You should do it.
on the headset.
And isn't it
Well, I
more
can
my
wear the
understanding?
headset and get
yeah.
a laptop and some wireless internet and just go questing.
I was told that it no longer has that one eye problem when you're casting, because in the previous model, when you casted it out, it was only showing one half.
I haven't tested it too much. I think it does only. Well, I don't know. I haven't looked at it too much because that's why I like to buy games on Steam VR, because then I can run it natively on the PC. It's better to stream.
Mm-hmm.
It can be choppy, and maybe there is that one eye issue. I think it does still do from one eye.
Maybe in
Maybe
VR,
it's blend.
the AR stuff
Maybe
though
it's
is full stereo eyeballs. Stereo
It could be.
eyeballs.
The
Could be.
one eye issue, the reason TLC broke up.
Yeah, they were having. I think she was going solo anyway. I think at the time, I actually was reading about her the other day. Do you know why? Because I
think
called
she
her.
passed away. The guys.
She did. She died.
Yeah.
She passed away in a car accident. No, I knew about all that. That was John's original joke, as dark as it was. But I was reading.
I wasn't trying to make it dark. I knew that there was something tragic that happened, but I thought we could just leave it at the joke. But here we are talking.
I
about
called
the
on some
actual-
show. On some show,
I've
it
seen
wasn't
them
here,
live in
but
concert. They're an American treasure. You
no, they're great.
monster.
I love. Dude,
I love
they're
TLC.
great.
I
They're great.
just wanted to make a harmless joke without the cold, harsh reality setting in.
Right, but I have this to say: what I learned about them. Well, this is why I looked it up, not what I learned. I learned nothing. I learned that she passed away. The other two took off, did their own thing, whatever, and I checked on where they are now and all that. And they have more hits than you remember. It's not all just Waterfall and all that. But the main thing was that I called her One-Eyed Lucy on the show because I could not remember her name, her real name. And it drove me
you
crazy.
thought the L stood for Lucy.
Yeah, I was like, One-Eyed Lucy. And it's not even close. It's just Lisa One-Eye. And she had both working eyes, by the way. That patch was just for funsies. That was another thing I learned. So anyway.
It's like they call that in wrestling a gimmick, I think.
I'm glad that you looked it up because I'm just glad that you got my dumb joke.
Oh, I
I'm
love
sad that we had to drag it into the cold, hard reality snow out here to make
Sorry,
everybody feel bad. But I do love TLC. I do.
Well, the sad
unironically.
the sad thing about her death is she was about to open a big school or something for kids in Honduras, which is where she was in the car accident. Like, she had all this really cool charity stuff going on. And so, if anything, it just gave me a little more insight as to what was going on. Because I think in my head, I always think everybody who dies in music or Hollywood, it's always some tragic reason. Oh, they got drunk and ran off the turnpike, or they, went down in a plane because they were doing coke in the cockpit, or whatever. Like these things happen. But this was nothing like that. She was down there. She was with some friends. They were opening this big Honduran school for kids. It was like this big deal, and then she tragically died. So. Wear your seatbelts is one thing I did learn, though. Wear your seatbelt. She probably would have been okay had she been wearing a seatbelt. All right. Now I'm taking the weirdest moment in core history and moving forward to the next thing.
Thanks a lot, Greg.
Thanks, Greg. It's your fault.
It's his fault. I forgot.
Hey, Bo, you're more famous than ever. Look at this. Somebody you put it on Twitter, but somebody snuck us some images. Rackamar showed up in our Discord with these amazing shots.
A lot of people have informed me of this.
Yeah, it's awesome.
I got a good photo of it today.
Oh, we got to shout out Randy too. Randy offered to take a picture and he sent one to me.
Oh, it's nice. Very nice.
Rackamar and Randy for I assume they are Blizzard employees.
Yeah,
who went and snagged a photo for me. So thank you both.
Yeah, it's great.
I assume Randy's an employee. I know that.
Yeah, he's working there.
I actually know this.
Yeah.
I've met Randy.
But look at that. You're nestled right there between.
I know.
You're nestled right between Goofy and Gorzanik. That's a nice little sandwich.
And you're just 2 down from going nuts.
Yep. And a few more. We got Mine and Godspeed Speedster.
Go Speed Racer.
Oh, Go Speed.
Just put that on the letter. But sure.
I had that so wrong. Oh my gosh.
You're like, what is that, Belgium?
How's that feel though to have your name up on this
It's
thing?
cool, man. Like I said, if I ever find my way down there, I'm looking to cash in with that royalty card. Excuse me, you can't come on campus. My name is on the statue. I believe I'm having lunch here.
It's really cool too, because it looks like a memorial, like a Vietnam memorial, like all the little names
that's
lined
what
up.
I mean. Like I like to think of it as like the world will be like Mad Max. Scott will be happy.
Yep, be thrilled.
And then he'll take his war band of war children and come to the statue and be like, I knew this man who once sat in a chair for 14 days.
Yeah.
And here is the statue, him and his comrades.
Yeah, it's pretty awesome.
I
love it.
Man. It's a sick. It does like terrible things for my sense of self-worth or ego or whatever, vanity. It's just like I'm on a statue. It's awesome.
Yeah.
Like that's like gotta be one of the best prizes in all of like video game history, even better than money.
That thing will probably outlast you. You'll probably.
That's what I mean. Like I have like like if you think about it, how ridiculous that be on a statue. The only complaint I have is just I would like my name on there too.
Oh, your real name. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, but it's fine. There's 1,000 names on there.
Yeah, but the ego boost would be even higher if it was your actual name. I feel like you'd turn into the next Billy Mitchell.
Yeah, we don't want
You'd
that.
come in with a Canadian flag tie,
Yeah.
talking some barbecue sauce.
Yeah, faking
You'd be
scores.
Like, I'm on a statue. here."
Cheating your score in Donkey Kong, all that stuff.
Commission 3 more statues.
Yeah.
Put your own name on it.
This strikes me as one of those ideas for a promotion that gets struck down that somehow made it through. Like it's a pretty unique idea, and hey, I'm just glad it's on there. I've been waiting to see it, and now that we're there,
Can you imagine though if they would have put real names on there would have been a bigger controversy than the real name forum controversy from years ago. Because they would have done it without they would have been great if it was without anyone's permission. They just put people's full last names up there. I would have loved that. And you would have liked it because you
people's permissions for that.
I assume for gamer names they don't, because you give those away. I think you give that right away in the TOS when you play. I think that's considered public data. But if you wanted if they wanted your real name,
no one who did this would say no. If there's someone who's like, no, I can't. I work for the CIA. I can't have my name on there. Like I don't.
There's bound to be some guy in there that's got like 500 gigs of like child porn or something on his hard drive and doesn't want his name out there.
Yeah, you don't want Jared on your little statue, I guess. No. This kind of saves you from some of that, but
it's a level of protection when something goes terribly dark with someone on there.
Yeah. We talking Jared, like Subway Jared? That's what you mean, right?
Yeah, Subway Jared. Yeah.
Let's make sure.
I saw him in Community and I was like, oh, that's unfortunate.
Oh, I know, dude. When that kind of thing happens, it's like, it's unfortunate.
Like, oh yeah, that guy's like uber canceled. He's been
I
in prison, right?
watched I watched the documentary on HBO about him, and
I
it
did
was
too.
so much worse than I thought it was.
It's
Like
way worse.
I thought it was bad, and then I watched that, and I was like, oh.
It's almost
This
as
is
bad as
way
a
wor-
stranger shitting in your
I
toilet.
thought he got busted just
Almost.
because he had really bad stuff on his computer. And I use the word just. He absolutely should have been busted for that. But there was way worse things than that.
Oh yeah,
So,
way worse.
oh
That
my
was a good
gosh, it
documentary
was
though. That's
shocking.
worth seeing, by the way.
It was, although I felt really guilty at the end because it did make me want Subway. And I was like, I think that's how I should walk away from this video.
You're gonna walk away from the Jared documentary and go get a meatball sub. That's fantastic.
Yeah, I don't think this is how I should feel.
That's amazing.
Consumer brain went into full effect at the end, and it wasn't right.
One of these links is a video to the statue. Is this like? I don't think I've seen this. Or
Oh,
did
did I?
Is this the one that we originally captured, or someone was trying to?
No,
get you?
Someone like a lot of Pez Radar or somebody did. I don't know. So, yeah, there's a video of it too.
Oh, here we go. Adam
There's-
Fletcher went through and took a video. This is where I originally captured your name, but it looked real fuzzy because we had to zoom and enhance.
Yeah,
to
someone
get it.
someone in the Discord actually zoomed and enhanced.
Yeah.
like Sean Connery Rising Sun style.
Yeah.
Zoom and enhance to find my name.
And then it just
Oh.
reveals Jason Bourne.
What's cool is they did it. This shot's being taken on that day that Microsoft was visiting after the acquisition. They were having a big celebration.
Yeah, there were a lot of pictures of Bobby and Phil and Ybarra hanging out.
Yeah, Ybarra looking pretty stoked. I think he's excited about this change. I don't know. I know on the ground they are. I know a lot of people internally are pretty jazzed about
Well,
what's going on.
Bobby's gone in January, and if leadership's feeling jazzed, hopefully that means good things for the games we love.
That's right. Get out of here, Bobby. I have a question about Bobby. It'll come up later in the show. We'll get to all that. But first, we have a topic, and we must discuss it. Okay, City Skylines. Remember that game? Real popular, huge deal. There's a sequel. Just came out. Hit Game Pass. Is also available for purchase. People think it is the true successor of the SimCity series. It out SimCity'd SimCity and deserves all the accolades it gets, but it's also caught up in a bit of a review controversy. All right. So we thought we'd talk about it. You know, we could sit here and go, Alan Wake 2 is coming and the reviews are great. Or we could say,
We'll do that later.
yeah, we'll do that all later.
We're still
all right?
gonna do that. Like,
Yeah, we're just
don't
not-
interrupt the show. We're gonna still do it.
Yeah, I don't want to blow my. Well, I don't like saying that. I don't want
Hey,
to.
Chicken Schmidt says he's playing it right now.
Chicken Schmidt. Oh, in the chat.
Yeah.
It's like, who the hell is Chicken Schmidt? I love that.
Chicken Schmidt, tell us, give us your ranking, by the way, before Scott will get into it. But
Yeah, tell us what you
if
think.
you're playing it, like, drop some comments in the chat and give us your opinion while we discuss.
Yeah, we'd love to hear it. But anyway, it's being panned by major outlets, but series fans seem to be loving it. Like the changes, like where it's headed, all this stuff. Bugs notwithstanding, there's always bugs at launch. So, keep that in mind. So we wanted to ask this question. Is it fair to launch a review? Is it fair to launch review a game that explicitly states it plans to be a work in progress over its life cycle? Basically, a veiled version of early access. There are major benefits, of course, for getting player feedback rather than expecting everything to be 10/10 amazing on 0 day. This isn't going to be about Baldur's Gate 3 or other anomalies. Or is it good to have the bullshit detectors ward coming off, wasting their cash and time?
Sorry,
Customers
you had a hard
off.
time with it.
Yeah, I don't know why I had a hard time with that word. Yeah, so I don't know. I kind of have a weird feeling that this is mostly about whether or not games have to be feature complete at first. Can they be just enough to be a game with the promise of more later? And I don't mean like Cyberpunk's an example of this, but they didn't say that. That wasn't the plan. Like nobody came out and said, we're releasing Cyberpunk in its basic configuration, but later we'll be adding more to this. Like that would have probably maybe softened the blow a little bit with the problems that game had at launch. But what this feels like to me
People
is
also hate that too, right?
people
Like,
do hate that. I just think this is an example of a game that maybe wasn't quite cooked exactly, and they had to push it out and get it out and be done.
Yeah, I guess that's like the crux of the question, right? Because like, I mean, if something's explicitly labeled early access, you sort of expect it. If you're inviting people to a paid beta, you label it as such. But a lot of games that there's maybe some assumption on the part of certain franchises. Like City Skylines has like a ton of DLC too.
Mm-hmm.
That game was not the game it launched as.
No. In fact,
And Dark Tide
yeah,
is pulling this off. That
right.
it's another one that clearly was not. I would bet money is not in a place that they wanted it to be when they decided to push the launch button. And there's a number of games that are like that. And we do have I think when it comes to our full price releases that aren't labeled as such, we have an expectation that it's going to be good out the gate, right? It's like Elden Rings didn't need too many patches, pretty good out the gate. Zelda, Mario Wonder, all great games out the gate. So, we sort of paint with a broad brush, I guess, sometimes when companies that you sort of expect. Like I sort of expect City Skylines to, and it's a Paradox game, or they're a publisher. It's not the development team.
Right.
I sort of expect Paradox games are never good at launch. They sometimes get worse, actually, but sometimes they get much better. But they always have 50 DLCs, right?
Mm-hmm.
And so, like, being in the know, I kind of expect that to be the case with City Skylines. Like, I'm not shocked that there are complaints about it. So there's an argument to be made that the reviews of it are unfair because they're treating it like a launched product, and it's probably the time anything written about City Skylines is going to get the most media reach.
Right. Because
maybe that's their fault for not releasing a complete product, but maybe it's games journalism's fault for feeling the need to review it right now.
Well, let me ask you this.
I would say like City Skylines shouldn't probably get a review till a year or two down the road.
Well, let me ask you this. So it sounds like what you're saying is there ought to be a special case made for this game or games like it. And then so what that is going to require a change of gamer perspective, because I think a lot of people who buy and play games also expect when they go there day one and they download this game and they pay for it, they pay their $59 or $60, whatever it is they're paying. I guess it's only $1 difference. They're paying $60. They expect it to run. And I don't know of too many gamers that'll look at this and go, well, it's City Skylines. That they're going to need 6 months. So this really is like, that is going to require a shift in gamer thinking. And I'm not sure that's happening either.
Well, I don't mean like if it's absolute trash, but if it's going to launch kind of buggy. I'm trying to think of other good examples, but there definitely have been some. I mean, PUBG is a good example.
Yeah. It was a
Although
mess
I guess that was in beta. They
Well,
could have clearly labeled it as like an early access
Yeah,
beta.
I'll tell you my take on this, and I've said it before. If you put a 1.0 on your game, it should be reviewed, and you should take the review you got for it. Doesn't mean that it can't be worked on. Doesn't mean it can't be evaluated some other time. But if you were going to say that this is a product we support enough to not attach early access or any other number of qualifiers on it, this is a release candidate. You deserve to get reviewed for what you put out there as a release candidate. And I apply that to games I like as much as games I don't like. Cyberpunk deserves to be reviewed based on the Cyberpunk that came out 3 years ago. Like that's simply the case. Now, can we reevaluate it and write things up? Sure. Did that have a permanent negative impact for a while on that game? Yeah, it did. But it also was a fair reflection of the game that existed then. And I think that that's what it's there to do. So I think that video game companies, if you're going to put a release on your game, you need to be ready to get reviewed based on what you've put out there. Now, I do think that there are a couple other problems because I think that this is a system that, again, works together. I think Metacritic and bonuses to paid developers based on Metacritic scores is absolute bullshit and needs to go away.
I hate it.
I do not. I think that is toxic for gaming in general.
Yeah.
I think it has hurt video games in general. I think that, whether you want to blame that on Metacritic or you want to blame that on the game companies, I don't care. I think that that is a ridiculous concept and shouldn't be a thing. So I think that is also part of a problem because I think another issue is this goes to illustrate kind of how much BS reviews are in general. Because again, a review is a snapshot of when it was made, especially in this day and age in gaming. Like almost every game that comes out these days is evolving in some way, whether that's through expansions or DLC or just updates to fix the game. Very few games just come out and they are what they are when they came out.
Even
You know,
Nintendo gets day one patches now. Even Nintendo,
Yeah.
and they used to be,
and
you know,
they did in the day, we just didn't even know about it. Like you can go and find like interesting articles about different versions of Nintendo games based on cartridge number.
yeah, that's
Like
true. Yeah.
you will find weird examples of people going like, it's weird. I remember there being chanting in the Fire Temple of The Legend of Zelda Ocarina of Time, but it's not in there in the version I played. That's because it was eventually patched out and removed for every version of the game that was released thereafter.
Yeah.
So there are a lot of examples like that throughout gaming's history. Like it's kind of always been a thing to some degree. It's just a lot easier to do now. But at the end of the day, like I think people that are playing City Skylines 2 and enjoying it knew that they were going to get in and enjoy it. And if they read the review rather than focus on the score, which is unfortunately what most people do, they
Yeah.
look at it and they go, "Oh, it got a 50 or 60 or whatever. I'm mad." Um, it probably would say in that review, these things that they're upset about don't apply to you because you're exactly the person that's going to be the person that goes, no, I love this game and this series enough, and I've seen their history. They've done this before. And I trust that they will fix it. If the next game that CD Projekt Red puts out feels busted when it comes out, well, that's kind of how Witcher 3 felt at the beginning. That's how Cyberpunk felt at the beginning. I can make an educated decision on whether or not I think they might fix it eventually. But does that mean that a bad game at the time shouldn't get a low score because it's a bad game? And I think that ultimately, like, yeah, you just give the game the review when it comes out. We have a term for when you want to keep working on a game before it gets reviewed, and it's called early access.
Yeah.
And they had the option to go that route. But being a Paradox game, my guess is they didn't want to go that route because they want to sell a bunch of DLC. And I don't know how that works with early access games, adding a bunch of expansion packs and all of that. Maybe they feel
They
this
wouldn't
like
Yeah.
this base game like is enough. And if they do, then they deserve to be reviewed by what they think is enough.
Yeah.
That's my take on
I
it.
think that's fair. I think I agree with that entire take, and I think that we have a word for this. You can't make a second or first impression twice. Like you can maybe make up for it and fix things and make people happier in the long run, but there's still people pissed about No Man's Sky's launch and refuse to play it because of it. I know people like that. I hear from them all the time, and I know there are people like that with Cyberpunk. Even games that have spectacular fixes and do right the ship in somewhat short order still have this stigma from that first impression, and that first impression will always haunt it. And I think you run that risk if you're going to launch without it being ready. And no matter who you are, what you are, indie all the way up through AAA. AAA's it hurts more because you're talking about, billions are at stake. A small indie developer, if Lucas Pope's next game, which very unlikely would be bad, the guy doesn't make anything bad, or at least he's 0 for 2. Oh no, he's 2 for 2.
He did a third game, but you got to get that crank handle handheld game to play.
Oh yeah, I want to see what that is. Kind of want to. What's that called? The Playdate. I kind of want one.
Yeah, get
Just because I want to see what the hell Lucas Pope did on there. Although I heard it was like it's like Papers, Please in a new way or something. So it's kind of redoing other things. But whatever he's working on, like mainline thing he's working on next, if that launch is bad, we probably can safely say, well, it's Lucas Pope. He's earned some leeway here. Colossal Order, as far as I know, the only thing people know them from, I'm sure they've done other things, but City Skylines is kind of their big deal. So to come out of the gate with 2 being in rough shape, I think is just a shitty first impression. And John's right. Whatever you put out is what people are going to review, and whether the reviewers are going to have the forethought to go, I mean, yes, they could in their review say, hey, in a year we may be having a very different conversation because they'll have DLC out by then, and they've always supported their previous games all the way up till now, and there's no reason to think that this couldn't all be improved. However, at launch, like if they're talking like that, I respect that. Those are the reviewers I like to read because at least they're acknowledging the facts of things, right? But I also think it'd be cool if we had a way in the future for reviews to be less one time and instead, here's our initial review of City Skylines 2, and then we're going to revisit this game in 4 months, and then they come back.
Some do that.
They do, but do people read them? Like, there's a whole problem with people not reading. But that's the
problem. Yeah, is people don't go back and read it. People
Yeah.
have no interest in it. Again, because people don't use reviews for what they should be for. A lot of people don't go to reviews to find out the quality of a game. People go to reviews to find out if their opinion of the game matches somebody else's opinion of the game and feel validated or outraged.
Violated.
Yeah. I mean, it's a slip of the tongue, but also correct.
Kind of works. Yeah.
It's also true. They want to know if their opinion's right, or if they're going to get mad and write up a rage thing about it. That's why you see people raging about this. It isn't because they read the review and they're disappointed that their game isn't good. It's because they read the review and they don't agree with it. They already have an opinion.
Yeah.
You don't need to go to a review if you already have the opinion. The review is supposed to help you make a choice, to help guide you in forming that opinion. But we all go there just to be like, I like that game. Awesome. I want to go read about someone else who liked that game.
Mm-hmm.
Like, or get mad at somebody that didn't. Like, that's just what we tend to do.
Yeah, that's the human part of this. And I don't know how you change that, but, you know, I have a few thoughts on this. Number one, I fully believe that City Skylines 2 will be an amazing game one day. I think they know how to make these, and they'll do it. They'll figure out a way. But I'm also disappointed that they launched rough. You know, it's possible to be 2 or 3 of these things, of feelings about
and
it. And
it could be good. Like, this could be I haven't played City Skylines, so I can't speak to this game, but it could be like the Sims effect. They put out 1 billion things for The Sims, and then a new version of The Sims comes out, and you're like, why can't I place my TV diagonally? That was something I could do in the last game. Why can't I do that now?
Yeah.
Like, that's a base level feature, because we have this thing in our brain where we're like, well, they put a new, bigger number after the thing, so it should have everything that was in the previous one and now more, and it should look better. But especially with these things that get so much DLC and microtransactions, we expect it to contain all of that when a new one comes out, and more often than not it doesn't, and that leads some people to be disappointed. That leads other people to say, well, it's going to come out eventually.
Yeah. To give some context to what they said real quick here, so we don't miss some of this, I didn't like this quote much, but Colossal Order chose to release the game in its current state because it would have been, quote, unfair, unquote, to eager fans to delay it. That's a weird thing to say. But they went on to say, firstly, we want to...
It's your fault, people.
It's your fault, you guys. You're too eager to play our game.
You were too excited for the video game.
Yeah, it's all on you. Then they said,
yeah,
quote...
that's a weird thing to say.
It's very weird. But later they said, firstly, we want to assure you that the issues are not deeply rooted in the game's foundation, so we fully expect to be able to improve performance going forward. The issues we are currently facing are tied to the rendering of the game and decreasing the quality of visuals, such as depth of field, global illumination, and volumetrics. Will get you a fair performance increase without affecting simulation at the cost of a little eye candy. I mean, it's just a lot of talking in circles about we launched the game unpolished. I mean, that's really what they're saying. It's not ready. Supposedly there's enough of you who are so eager to play it, we had to put it out early.
Is this a developer versus publisher thing? Like,
could be.
The first time a player was like, if you don't put that game out, I'm going to burn down your house. And they were like, we better put that game out.
Yeah.
I don't want my house to be burned down.
Yeah,
this would be bad.
The word eager players is a weird thing to... I mean, they would have...
It's a lot. That's a bus. You took a lot of people and threw all of them under a bus.
Yeah, a little bit.
Imagine if Baldur's Gate said that or Blizzard said that. Everyone would be like, it's not good PR.
And maybe it's a totally different thing depending on the game. So when somebody big launches something like Diablo 4, if you had those kind of broken issues, that kind of wording out of them would have really sucked. But if this was like a 2-man team of a small game that everybody was highly anticipatory
I think it's like a bigger team, but it's not a big team. Like,
they're small-ish.
10 to 20 person studio.
Sure.
Probably they're burning, the real answer is we're burning cash and we need to put it out.
Yeah, that's my guess too. And I can understand that, right? I get it. If you got to pay people.
I guess it's just too hard. It's just too hard to be honest about these things, I guess,
I wonder how much pressure was on them from Microsoft to hit the Game Pass dates and stuff. I don't know how that works.
I don't know. Has a developer ever said we had a budget, we went over, We need revenue. It's not perfect. Give us revenue. We promise to keep working on it. Like,
Nope,
yes, it's
nobody.
not early access. Yes, it's not open beta. Yes, we accept our lumps, but you've enjoyed the first installment of the series, and we are on board to deliver a good product. If series has fans, like people, like there's city builder people that love city builders. That's what they play. My brother's kind of one of those people, and they will forgive you, and they will if you just, honesty is the best policy. Like what? It's not like you'd have competition to worry about. EA sitting on SimCity, like,
yeah, EA never did figure it out. They were like, I don't know.
Is there
it's
another
hopeless.
city builder like yours? It's like you're in a pretty good position in the marketplace. Like,
Oh, they
just
own the
be
spot
honest,
now. Yeah,
dummies.
no one else even touches this stuff. They own it now. EA's over there going, "What did we do? Freaking indie team
Yeah.
with 20
They have
people."
the IP, and they're just like, how do we make a game with such a difficult genre? Even though they've done it 8 times, I have no idea.
I got it. We let them build cities, but only really small ones, and then we require a multiplayer component to complete city infrastructure. People are gonna love this. Oh my gosh, what a brilliant idea, EA.
Oh yeah, yeah. Do you think they ever make another one at EA? I think that
I
hurt too
mean,
much.
No.
they should, because it's
they're
not
working on
learning
one.
it's not learning the right lesson. That's nothing
They're wor-
pisses me off in gaming more than people not learning the right lesson, which is why I'm mad at Blizzard all the time. So
Yeah.
for anybody that's like, why is John always so critical of Blizzard? Because they are guilty of this more than maybe any other company I know. But like EA putting out a new SimCity that everybody was super hyped for. Everybody was so excited for this game.
Yeah.
And then when the cities were super small, when there was a weirdly like multiplayer component that nobody asked for, and then the game didn't run particularly well, your answer to that is, oh, I don't think people are interested in city builders. No, we're not interested in bad city builders. Everyone was excited for the video game. What lesson did you take away from this? Like, why aren't you trying again?
Yeah.
Like, you 100% should. People wanted that damn game. You just made the wrong one.
Yeah. John or Bo, you said they are working on one? I hadn't heard.
I thought, I thought I read something that it was like in forever development or something like that.
I mean, it does
But
seem like
I
something they
can't
wouldn't
find
want to.
anything.
They wouldn't want to
Yeah.
just let go. And it was 2013, so we've had 10 years to get over our wounds over it. But I don't know if they ever.
I mean,
do
it just
again.
seems insane. Like, it is a big franchise, and it's vanished.
Yeah,
like-
this happens a lot over there. This is kind of a problem for EA. Turns out.
I mean, like, how hard is it to just make a bunch of buildings and start?
You do it in a weekend. Just do it in a weekend. You got it
Well,
all
not
taken
doing
care
a
of.
weekend, but it's not like you got to get a mocap team and hire a bunch of talented actors to make. It's like you just want buildings and cars that drive around, vroom vroom vroom. Like it's a.
Yeah.
It can't be that hard. What I'm saying is,
Simple.
it can't. I'm sure Mass Effect or Baldur's Gate or Diablo or what's that? Mario even probably takes more effort than a city builder. Like. And I'm sure you can get down in the weeds, and I'm sure you could burn cash like crazy. But like, it's not a complicated genre. You have the genre has been modeled in many games prior to yours.
I think
like,
they just don't see that. I don't think they think there's enough profit in it. That's why they don't make one. I think
People
that they
basically just want a pretty version of the game that existed before.
They're like, how do we
Yeah.
sell microtransactions and per building sales? And it just doesn't fit with the modern model of AAA development, I guess. But they suck for that. They should be
do.
okay having some like smaller IPs. Not everything has to be MCU level
Well, it's like John says about Blizzard.
carnival.
Yeah, outside of their mobile products, even in that case they still run them like gigantic products. But you said that for months, John. Like, make us do some cool small shit. Doesn't have to all be, mind blowing.
Well, also, like your reputation. I always wonder about that conversation. I guess they don't care, but like reputationally, even if a game is not poised to sell well, if you have like an brand identity or a reputation, like you should still release things that the fans love about you, even if it doesn't generate profit.
Yeah.
Like
Like
in the
Overwatch 2
portfolio.
on Steam.
And then you never know when something's going to take off anyways, and you've got lots of burners in the fire kind of thing. Like anyway.
Yeah. Well,
I just didn't make sense to me.
we'll see what
Short-term
happens.
thinking.
I hope this means it stays on Game Pass longer because I'll play it, but I want to wait till I hear it's in better shape, and I don't want to spend money on it until I know. So we'll see what happens with City Skylines 2, a big anticipated game, not getting amazing reviews. There's another one that's getting really good reviews so far, but we'll talk about that one later.
You'll
city
never
builder?
guess what it is.
You'll never guess what it is, guys. You'll never guess. Let's just say it involves a guy named Alan. All right, moving on. It is time for us to talk about the games we played. So
Whoa.
this is a weird week for me. I ended up needing, well, we talked about palette cleansers last week and, kind of just needing something different than a big open world game. And we had said last Thursday, John's like, I think I'm getting or you did order Spider-Man. You just hadn't played it yet. Spider-Man 2. Yeah. And I said, well, I guess I'll be the Mario one and get Mario Wonder. I didn't do that at all.
People are so mad.
Yeah.
People are so upset. The Nintendo people are coming for you. There were really good points in the chat room too, or in the comments. I saw one person in the YouTube comments say, you should buy Mario because Mario will never go on sale and Spider-Man 2 eventually will. That is an amazing point that we didn't think of, but 100% spot on.
Yeah, he's totally right.
That is very true.
And Spider-Man will probably end up on some form of PlayStation Plus and then later on PC, and also those go on sale all the time. Like, there's no reason to think that wouldn't be true again. And I fully intended to do it. I just could not get in the mood, partly because my schedule was really whacked over the last 7 days, and as a result, my playtime was going to be little bits and pieces, and it was going to be difficult for me to sit down with something new and really go for it, which is what I wanted to do. So it's not, I did not do it because I don't want to play it. I do want to play it. I want to play Spider-Man for that matter. I just, it's all about time at this moment. So here's what I did. My palette cleansers were going back to my 2021 Game of the Year, Shipbreaker, Hard Space Shipbreaker, for those who forgot. It has a longer name than I usually give it. And I played a ton of Shipbreaker. And it was very cathartic. It's an amazing thing to play. Even now, I still think that game is incredible. It's the best chorecore game ever made. You're floating in space. You know what, John? I found out why, by the way, that it reminds people of Homeworld, like the style of it.
Oh, good.
It's because it's ex Homeworld devs making the damn thing. I didn't even know that, like, for all the longest time. Some of them, not all of them, but a few of them are ex Homeworld people. So some of that.
The reason I asked you that is because it became a meme in Discord that it gets mentioned every time you talk about this game. Yeah. So I made a point anytime you talk about it to ask you. Yeah,
rightly so. I could see that making sense. Right. Anyway, the story, the main campaign of that game I beat a long time ago. So what's left in the game is to just tear ships apart for funsies and make money, and also fill out any other trees that never got filled out and finish ranks that aren't done, because there is a ranking system. But there's also this weird endgame thing they added I completely forgot about, where you're building, you're finding parts in some of your breakdowns that you can then use to get a ship working that's like this derelict thing that you get to keep, and it's yours. And I don't know what you do even when you're done. I haven't really looked to see what happens. Yeah, you build a ship slowly. You add these parts to it, and this little computer voice helps you do it and all this stuff. And then when you are done, you get to fly that thing, take it somewhere, I don't even know what. So I'm working on that now.
You want to know my prediction? Can I make a prediction?
Make a prediction.
To this part,
do it.
For the record, I don't actually think this is what it is, but it would be great.
Yeah.
So you make a ship, right? You build it. You find all the parts, you put it together, you build the ship. And then the game goes, let's say 35 years later.
Okay.
And then you're in space, and now you're breaking the ship you built. And the guy goes, yeah, my dad. He used to fly the ship around.
That's the sequel, isn't it?
And then you decommission your dad's ship, and it's basically the ending to Red Dead Redemption.
Oh my Lord, that's amazing. That is the Red Dead Redemption ending. Oh my gosh. I hated that ending at first, and then I loved it later. Is that weird? You ever have an ending to a game where you're like, I hated that, and then you like it later when you think about it more?
No, I think so. Yeah.
I'm sure I have. I don't know if I can think of an example, but
that game just did something to me.
Mass Effect 3, and then they put out some DLC that changed it, but I don't think that's what you mean.
No, that is not exactly what I mean, but we're in the ballpark. But anyway, Shipbreaker just continues to be such a fun, satisfying pleasure. to play. The guy I'm watching video here is terrible at this game. He doesn't know what he's doing, so it's driving me crazy. I've become very, very efficient.
What a noob! He can't break ships.
Look at this rook breaking down this ship
Totally.
all the wrong way.
He just threw a package that goes in the receiver bay. He just threw it.
Can they make a VR edition, please?
So yeah, see, that's one thing I would love to see here is VR support.
I've been interested in playing, but I've been holding out because this seems very VR.
Yeah, for sure.
Very VR friendly space game that's casual, puzzle based. Yeah.
Today's going to be my second game is I'm going to have some talk about how VR might work in it as well, because I also think it would be amazing in VR. But you're not wrong. This would be a very cool VR experience. I don't know what their plans are or even what they're doing next, but I just still find this so cathartic and just chill, and I love it. Absolutely love this game. So I played a bunch more of that. And I started in earnest this time. The Return of the Obra Dinn.
Ernest goes to the
Obra Dinn, exactly. This is Lucas Pope. We talked about him a little bit earlier, but he's the dude behind Papers, Please. He's never made a bad game, and his games are kind of brilliant. I said the other day on Twitter, when John referred to it, where I really feel like he's like a Leonardo da Vinci type in gaming. Just really thinks beyond what everyone else is doing and does it rarely, but when he does, it just knocks it out of the park. I love his games, and when I say games,
so happy you're playing this, Scott.
Yeah,
this is one of my favorite video games ever
of all time.
And the fact that you're playing it just makes me so happy. Because I feel like a lot of people see the graphics for this and go, I don't think I'll like that.
Yeah, they're wrong.
That's what prevented me from buying it for so long, is I looked at it and I went, it's not that I hate what they're doing graphically, it's just that I don't think I'm going to have fun playing it.
Right.
And it's so different once you're in there and actually doing it.
Yeah. It's a very, once you get I don't even know how to explain it. I feel like it's some of the most artsy use of graphics ever. Like this, okay, if Lucas Pope is listening, he's not, but if he was, I would like to request, for real, for people like Bo and others who are really into VR, when I play this game, I think about that. I think about how, not that it diminishes the experience at all, playing it flat screen, but this would be so crazy in VR, just such a weird style, because it's all done in this old, Mac classic graphical style. You can change it, but that's the default.
Yeah, you can pick which old computer you want it to look like.
Yeah, but
it's all going to be old computers, but you can pick your old computer.
Exactly, but what's weird is it's representing what it's actually doing is showing a modern first-person bunch of movement and control, but doing it through this weird, not filter, but I don't know how to explain it. And he did all this himself. The music all the way down to getting the voice acting from people and all that. This is all one dude doing this whole freaking thing. And it blows my mind. I'm trying to get a shooter thing. He's in the middle of looking at it.
Some of it is in different languages. So it's not like he just went and grabbed people off the street and was like, hey, you want to read for first mate? Like, a lot of effort was made to find people to perform these parts, because some of it's not even in English.
Yeah.
Like, and the game is just so cool. The way it starts with like this supernatural murder mystery, but it just gets bigger and bigger and creepier. Like, it's a genuinely haunting game, even though, you're not really encountering any enemies or anything like that. But like, this game is scary at times.
It is. You're absolutely right. And there's some sound
work. I don't know
work.
if you've gotten to any of the scary stuff yet.
Well, I think some of the earlier, so I'm not super far. I'm probably, 2 hours in, maybe a little bit less. There's more to go.
Like an evil pirate called One-Eyed Lisa.
One-Eyed Lisa, exactly. And in there, or Lucy, was it Lucy? I don't remember. No, her real name's Lisa. Sorry, back on that. What was I going to say? I forgot.
We're talking about scary stuff.
Oh, yeah. There's plenty of moments. They're just unsettling. And the audio, the sound work in general is really genius. And if you put headphones on, and when you're doing one of the sort of audio memories, and you just hear people like yelling on the deck of the ship, and it's like the things in the thing, and the Kraken and whatever, all this kind of like yelling.
It seems perfect for VR for sure.
Oh, 100%, dude. And just this weird art style in VR would be so trippy.
I haven't started it yet, but I did buy it. I have the Seventh Guest. I've never played Seventh Guest. For VR, they'd release it. So like this would be in that sort of realm of like
Yeah, that vein.
in locations, murder mystery, weird spookiness.
Was it that or was it? Oh yeah, no. Seventh Guest was getting the VR treatment, but also what's the other one? Phantasmagoria is getting a.
Oh, is it?
Well,
VR
that's
treatment.
already on VR. You can
Is it
play
now?
it.
Oh, okay. I
Yeah,
didn't know that.
John and I are playing with Guile and Carrot. Guile and
No,
Carrot.
that's Phantasmaphobia. Oh wait, that's what you're talking about. You're not talking about the old FMV.
No, that's the one I'm talking about.
Phantasmagoria
Is the
game.
old FMV one? That one's getting a
Okay.
VR treatment.
Bo and I are playing Phantasmaphobia with Kyle and Garrett on Halloween. You're talking about an FMV game, Phantasmagoria,
Correct.
which was a cheesy,
Wait, are we
much like
playing-
Seventh Guest.
Are you playing Phasmophobia or Phantasmophobia?
You guys are playing Phantasmaphobia.
Phantasmaphobia.
I'm talking about Phantasmagoria that came out in the 90s. That's getting a VR thing. So, yeah, the one
my,
you're
this
playing
is
with them may
old.
be getting VR. I don't know. Is it? I've played it. The one you're going to play. It scared the shit out of me, by the way.
The VR one. Yeah, that's the one. I'm gonna play it in VR.
Holy shit.
He's gonna be
dude.
in VR while we're playing like Mortals.
It's crossplay, so it doesn't matter whether I play in VR or not. We'll be fine.
Yeah, you totally should do that. That's great.
How prone to getting scared are you, Bo? Like, you never talk about
Uh,
horror games, so where do you land when you play a scary game?
I don't
It's
know.
Phasmophobia.
Phasmophobia.
I'm usually pretty good, but if there's spiders in it, I'll die.
Oh, really? I don't think there's spiders. You're probably safe.
No.
I played like
There's
10
any
rounds of
ghost
that.
spiders.
It scared the shit out of me, though, that game. I didn't like it. I played with some community members. They just laughed at me. It was bad.
We'll see. I mean, I may have to go to flat screen. I may not be able to take it. It's entirely a possibility I'm in there 10 minutes and I'm like, nope.
I'm out. Bail.
I
Well-
can get scared, but I don't get scared easily unless it's spiders.
Well, thus far, Return of the Obra Dinn, and I'm playing Papers, Please again on my phone because it's just handy and I have it in bed and stuff. I'm just totally loving this so far. I probably should stream it. I haven't been. I've been playing it in private. But, yeah, Return of the Obra Dinn's rad. It's on sale right now, I think. So, worth grabbing. Came out in
Music
2018.
is just so good, and it's so weird because you wouldn't think the music is fitting to the atmosphere because it's kind of jaunty and bouncing,
Mhm.
and like you don't think it would fit with this like dark mystery.
Mhm.
It 100% does.
It does.
Like, it just goes really well with it. I not that I memorized it, but it's one of the games that I wish I could forget what I know about the game and play it again.
Yeah, it doesn't
Just
have a lot of
because that
replayability,
first
right?
Experience is so good.
That's like there's endless modes and stuff you can unlock in Papers, Please. That game lends itself to replayability later after you've beaten the story. But in this case, this is a puzzle that once you finish it, you'll know what you did, right? Like,
Yeah, I think it's complicated enough that you won't remember all of it, but you'll certainly you'll have enough pieces to where you will have a much easier second playthrough.
yeah.
Because you're not going to remember the entire crew because you're basically trying to identify a giant crew of people, both who they are and how they died, and you're not going to remember all of that, but you'll remember a few key things here and there. And then of course there are some like just surprises about the journey of the Obra Dinn that you can't unknow.
Yeah.
Like once you've seen that this is part of what happened, you know that that's part of what happened.
I will say, of all the games I've played this year, this one, when I finally just put my head to it and said, let's play this, is maybe the most immersive thing I've done. Like, you get lost in it, and it feels like you're there, even though this weird art style, you wouldn't think you could do that in this. But I just get so into it. It's so good. Anyway, so I'm going to keep playing that. I think I'm going to try to beat that. I'm not going to take any hints. I'm not going to go to any YouTube walkthroughs or anything. I'm going to do it on my own, man. I'm going to learn the hard way.
Yeah.
I also played Jackbox Party Pack 10. And I did this because tomorrow on our TMS Playdate, we're playing this with a bunch of community members. And we always play the Jackbox stuff. We have all the other previous ones. They've all been great. There's always standouts, from various packages or versions of the game or whatever. This is no different. I think TKO 2.0 is really good if you ever played TKO.
I was gonna say I saw that this had a sequel to TKO, which I do think is the best game that has ever been in Jackbox.
It's very,
my
very
favorite.
good. Yeah, it's very good.
So-
I personally really always like the more trivia based ones as well, and I'm happy to report that they have one in here called Tech. I don't have it in front of me. I'll look it up. But it's basically an outer space trivia thing, outer space themed trivia game, or time travel. Sorry, that's what it is. A time travel based trivia game that just hooked me in hard. So between that and TKO, and there's a couple other real winners here, I think it's a really strong entry. It's the 10th entry. Oh, gross! Look at that cat taking a dump. You see that?
Yeah.
Pie for days.
My
It says.
goodness, pie for days.
Yeah, that was our actual game that night. But it seems really good, and if you've already got them all, you're probably going to collect these too. The only real hang up people have had is this thing went up by like $10 or something than previous ones at launch. So you're not really getting. It's not like you're getting extra games or anything. It's still the same number of games. You're going to get about the same value out of it, but you're going to pay more now. Call it inflation. I don't know, but this game costs a little bit more. I think it's 34 previously, or no, 30. Maybe it's not. Maybe it's only $6, but or $5-6.
Pie for days didn't win. That is a crime. You need better community.
No,
people.
I agree. There was some trouble there. Also, there's a penis. Look at that. Bull nuts. Fantastic. Anyway.
I'm a little bit behind. I don't see that right now. I like turtles and no.
You'll get it shortly, and it'll be gross. Anyway, it's great, and I think worth it, especially if you're a fan of this stuff. The only thing I wish they would do, I wish this company, you got to it, I'm sure.
I got to it.
This company should make a launcher and let people a la carte their games. At this point, there's so many, and it's 10 packages. Just give me a cool gridded out launcher, categorize it, whatever. Here's the drawing ones. Here's the ones that are trivia based. Here's whatever. And let you kind of pick and choose. Be a great way to launch stuff, but also buy stuff and do it individually if you want, instead of having to buy an entire package. Because there may be some games you're just like, well, I'm never going to play that because I'm never in the same room with people, and that one requires people to be talking to each other in a room. So I'm not going to buy that. But I would buy these 4 others that are all online friendly because that's how I'm playing. Or vice versa. Like, I think that would be a really cool value, and maybe they will at some point. But they have so much good stuff. Quiplash in the past is amazing. I love Drawful 2. Drawful Animate is excellent. TKO we mentioned.
Yeah, it would almost be worthwhile to have, like, I know it's getting dangerous here, but like a subscription model, like a light subscription model where you just get to launch any of the games from a single application.
Yeah. Yeah.
Like, and any new games that come out, you get access to if you're in it. Something like that. Because like that's the biggest problem is I tend to like between 1 to 2 games from every single one that comes out. Sometimes if it's a real winner, this is how I know a good one, I like 3 of them. Like, but I don't think I've ever liked every game in there. I think there's always a couple that just aren't very good. And so it turns into like, well, I want to play these games and I want to play these games. And so there's a lot of like, all right, everybody, we're going to play this. Okay, hold on. I got to switch games out to something else, but then we're going to do that. And it's just not, the best way to handle
It'd be fun to
like,
build your own bundle. Like, just say,
yeah,
these 5 games are my favorite, and therefore they're in the Scott bundle, and these others I don't care about, or whatever. And there are some where I didn't care about them and then tried them later and figured out what the jam was and then really liked them. So just giving you that freedom would be really cool, kind of across the board. But I don't know what their plans are. Those guys are really cool and smart. They'll figure something out. But Jackbox Party Pack 10 available now, and there's some good ones in there. It's real good. Okay, John, let's throw it over to you. You not only bought, installed, and played Spider-Man 2, you beat that game.
I did.
Jeez.
You know, for somebody that was really tired of open world games, I did buy, play, and beat Spider-Man 2 in this week.
Damn.
So obviously I hated it.
It's the worst game.
Obviously not a big fan of Spider-Man or the business he's getting up to.
Yeah.
Spider-Man 2 is great. It is, I think, pretty easy to say. I think it's the best Spider-Man game that's ever been made. I really think that it's It's solid. I see somebody always said short main story, maybe, but I'm at like 96% completion on that game. I've
Oh,
almost
wow.
100%
That's
of
a
it.
lot.
So this is not with spent a lot of time playing Spider-Man.
How many hours do you think was your run?
I don't know because it's on PS5. I can't easily check. I do know that I had a couple of nights where I did not sleep very well this week, so it is hard to quantify. But it's really really good. Everything about this game, like if you played the first Spider-Man, if you played Miles Morales, like all that stuff is in here. The combining of both characters and bouncing off of them is really solid.
Mhm.
Like they do a good job. Again, I think I said this last week, making the case for Spider-Man being a character where there can be multiple spider people running around. I think like he's a character very uniquely justified to that. And they do really cool things with like it tells its own story. Like this is its own corner of the Spider-Man lore. It diverges very much from what you may know, and I think in mostly good ways. Like there are some very smart things that this did as far as the narrative goes.
Is jumping
Um,
between Miles and Peter a thing you can kind of do whenever you want, or is that purely story based, or how does that function?
Story base, it does happen where it's just like, well, this is a Miles chunk of the story, this is a Peter chunk of the story. But if you're just roaming the open world, you can switch anytime.
Okay.
Unless, if there's a narrative reason why you couldn't do that, that might come up every now and then. But in general, like you can swap between them at any point. And it's both characters feel different. Like you get like different but similar. Like, you don't all of a sudden play Miles and go like, "Oh, but I'm terrible at playing Miles." It's just he has different abilities and different ways you can approach things and different strengths compared to Peter depending on how you utilize them. Um the game, I will say, does have a few it's not perfect. So, keep in mind I did say this is one of the best Spider-Man games ever made.
Mm-hmm.
But I do feel like it is worth pointing out. A lot of people after the first Spider-Man game said, "Boy, I sure didn't want to play as Mary Jane in this video game." You play as Mary Jane in this video game. That if that was some feedback you didn't want, but I will say this: her missions in general, I actually liked them. They tend to space them properly, and I do feel like we kind of talked about it with just your gaming in general. Palette cleansers, like this game can start to feel, especially because I have done some marathons of playing this game, it can start to feel like go to a place, watch a cutscene, go to a place, fight a bunch of guys, go to another place, fight a bunch of guys, cutscene. Like, and you just get in that rhythm, and that's fun. I think they have spaced out the non Spider-Man focused stuff in a smart way where it paces out the content. Like there was never a point, maybe once or twice where I was like, why are we doing this? And it was never really because what I was doing was bad. Like there's one that stands out. I don't want to get too spoilery. So I want to talk around it, but like obviously Mary Jane was a known quantity from the previous game that you play as her every now and then. Miles has somebody else in his life that you play as, and her mission felt very out of place. Like I didn't mind that they did it. It hit at a weird point, whereas like Mary Jane felt like oh, okay, this is a nice palate cleanser moment. Um, Hers felt really like weirdly like we're gonna do this for some reason, and I couldn't really tell why. But I will also say this, like those asides are not just like secondary characters. They do a lot of asides with the gameplay in ways that you might not expect. And again, that's starting to get into spoiler territory, but like there is some like flashback type stuff where you're not exactly Spider-Man, but you're not exactly just running around doing stealth missions or whatever.
Sure.
So they do a lot of cool things. Most of it, like 90% of it, I liked. Um, and then narratively, like there are a couple story blemishes with this game, and I can't talk about any of them.
Well, you're a big Marvel
But
guy. I trust you on that though, because you know more Marvel shit than most people I know. So you probably have like a better take on that than most, or people I
but
know
like
anyway.
that's the thing is like most of this game like does really cool things. Characters like I'll speak generally about Spider-Man, so this isn't about the game specifically. But if Norman Osborn shows up in a story,
Mm-hmm.
you know something's up. Like if Willem Dafoe walks up and is telling you what a science whiz he is,
Yeah.
you're like, well, I don't know if I should trust you, Willem.
Mm.
I feel like this relationship could go sour.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like there's baggage that comes with characters. And I think the thing that this game does so well, and part of why I say that I think the writing and the storytelling in this game generally is very good, is even in those cases where I was maybe felt like I knew what a character should be or a direction they might go, they got me to feel the way the game wanted me to feel about it, right?
Mm-hmm.
Like again, to use Spider-Man as an example, Willem Dafoe's telling me what a science whiz he is, and instead of going, "I'm suspicious of you, Mr. Osborn, because I've read a comic book," I'm going, "Look at this guy! Look how great he is! What could possibly go wrong?" Like they put me where I needed to be.
Mm.
And I think because those moments are so good, there are a couple narrative moments where things just sort of happen because they have to happen. And those moments stand out because the rest of it is really, really good.
Interesting.
But overall, I mean, again, the game is fantastic. There's a reason I beat it in a week. It's super, like everything's just turned up in a big way from what it has been in the past games. It starts with, one of the most bombastic like openings of a game since Final Fantasy 16 that I've seen. Like on spectacle wise, I think Final Fantasy 16 is maybe the only thing that can trump this as far as spectacle.
Sure.
Like the set pieces are crazy big and really, really cool. So it just like to me, this is what a AAA game should look, feel, and play like. And the fact that I'm at 96% complete should tell you that the side missions in general are a lot better than most. Like,
Yeah, I was gonna say you usually are. If they're bad, you kind of skip them, right? You're not a fan.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I have no need to clear out a map typically.
Yeah.
And the stuff that I skipped are things where, like there's some stuff that's combat arena-y that I was like, I don't know if I need to go do this. This doesn't compel me super badly. But the traversal is so good that I didn't really mind doing like, there's a collect-a-thon where it's like, just fly around, get this stuff. And I went, all right, well, I have a good enough time swinging around that like collecting stuff sounds fun because I like traversing the city. Web slinging feels like a slight downgrade, although I did hear that there is a realism adjustment that you can make. It does occasionally with the web swinging, I feel like I end up lower than I should, which sounds like more realistic web slinging, and maybe they were cheating it before and it's not an issue now. But it didn't feel quite as good as the original. But counter to that, they have added web wings, which I thought I was gonna hate because I am old and I hate anything new.
Yeah.
I was like, no, I want to swing around the city. That's what I play Spider-Man for. That's what it's all about. I don't want to fly like, Rocky the Squirrel. Like I want to swing. The web wings are awesome. I was very quick to change my opinion and tune on the web wings. I had a great time, and you can kind of combo them. So you can do a big swing and then deploy the web wings and glide and build up speed and then use that into a faster swing, which sends you up higher so you can glide more. Like that stuff is all really, really cool. The traversal in the game is incredible. It kind of always has been, but I feel like the stuff they've added is even better. They've got a bunch of wind tunnels so you can zip around. Like the game does have unlockable fast travel, but you really don't need it. Like in general, you can get across all of New York very, very quickly if need be. So Yeah, highly recommend this game. It's phenomenal. I did not want to play another open world game. I wanted to be like Scott and cleanse that palate.
Mm-hmm.
And then I played this pretty much nonstop for a week, and that should tell you what you need to know.
Yeah, if you were worried it wasn't going to be a good Spider-Man game, good news, it's a great Spider-Man game. So
Yeah,
get it.
really, really
I will say a couple things. One, I wanted to ask you, and maybe if this is spoilery or somehow, don't tell me, but I wasn't sure it would be. But is there any hints in this as to Insomniac's next game, which is supposed to be the Wolverine game? Was there any kind of like connective tissue?
The next one's going to be Mary Jane, right?
There is a direct reference in a non-story capacity. So this is not a story spoiler. People who are gonna get uppity about spoilers.
Yeah.
There's a direct reference to Wolverine in this video game.
All right.
Not a story one, but it is 100% in there. Everybody is speculating what their next game is going to be. Like, I've seen so many articles about, man, I hope the next game they make is Venom. And this game sets up about 100 sequels, to be honest. Like, if you're a Spider-Man fan, this game goes real deep on potential DLC, expansions, sequels,
standalones,
spin-off series, like a million things. And the one thing I didn't feel like it set up was a Venom sequel.
Yeah.
And
that's what everyone
I
wants.
mean, I might have missed something, but like that's what everyone is talking about. Now, I would not be opposed to it. But I like Venom. Venom is one of my favorite characters, and there is just cool stuff in here. There's references to the King in Black, which I know you read a lot of that stuff.
Oh, loved it.
There's King in Black stuff all over this, and I don't know if they're gonna tell that story. I don't think they're going to, but maybe they will. Like, as soon as I saw that spiral design in the world, I was like, oh my gosh, what are we gonna do here?
Yeah.
So King in Black stuff is all over it. It references a lot of really cool Spider-Man lore. And again, sets up a whole universe. Like, they could do so many things in this universe and in this game with these characters. So
I know they're deep into
really
into the Wolverine game's development, so I would think that's next, but maybe it isn't. Maybe they got other plans, I don't know.
I mean, they may do this trend because we got we got Spider-Man 1, then we got Miles Morales, then we got Spider-Man 2. Maybe there is going to be, Venom, and then Spider-Man 3. Maybe we just keep building, or maybe they divert for a while. Maybe they make Wolverine, and then maybe they make something else, some other Marvel character, and then they bring them all together.
Yep.
Daredevil would be a really good
that'd be great
to make.
And you could cross over pretty good with Daredevil. Those two are always working together.
You can go to Hell's Kitchen. I was hanging out there, and I was like, maybe I'll see him.
Yeah, you fought Kingpin in that first game. I don't know if he shows up again. Probably not. Right?
I'm not gonna say,
because he's in jail when I left him last. He wasn't killed. All right. Well, there you go. Spider-Man 2. Good game, turns out. Shocking. With all those failures that are littered behind Insomniac, how can we be sure?
There's such a sordid history.
Yeah, real rough a rough look back at a bad catalog. Suddenly they have a hit. So well done, guys. Good job. Let's see. You started like a dragon again. The game Bo played to death. How'd this go? And are you going to keep playing? What are you doing there?
I want to, because the sequel's coming out soon. Infinite Wealth is coming out soon. It's not in the news because honestly they didn't show anything that felt mind-blowing, but Microsoft did a partner showcase and they showed not a preview for Infinite Wealth exactly. They showed a preview for a mini game inside of Infinite Wealth.
Yeah.
Which is basically Yakuza Animal Crossing.
Yeah. Hell yeah.
Being added to the game.
Yeah.
Land that pre-order button now, baby.
So I 100% want to play this game. I loved the time I spent in Yakuza Like a Dragon. I think the game is immediately funny. Like, right from the get-go, when they basically say, why are you getting hit? Like, these are people you could beat up easily. Why are you letting them hit you? Are you masochistic? And he's basically like, I don't know. I just played so much Dragon Quest. I feel like they got to get their chance to hit me. And that's how they explain turn-based combat, is that the protagonist could win all these fights without taking a hit, but he chooses not to because that's not what a hero does. I love it so much. It's so stupid.
Yeah.
And
that combat's fun as hell, too.
I want to play Infinite Wealth. I would love to play it when it comes out, so I have to get through Yakuza Like a Dragon and actually beat it.
Yeah, it sounds like you need to be playing this game.
Yeah. Do we have a date on the new one? When's that? It's not this year, is it? Or is it?
I think it might actually be.
It's soonish. Yeah, I still think that the other one hasn't come out yet. The Dragon with No Name.
Oh, no, early next year. January 26, 2024 is what I'm seeing.
Yeah,
well, January's not far off. We are November, and Like a Dragon Gaiden is coming out in 2 weeks.
Yeah, that one's getting there's a Game Pass game that I think is like an interim game it's not a turn-based tied to this guy thing.
Yeah, that's the Like a Dragon Gaiden, the man who erased
That's
his name.
Gaiden? Okay. So that's actually a Game Pass right now.
Follows Kiryu in hiding, and it's the traditional beat 'em up.
Right.
It's his brand of storytelling, which is just you have 4 styles of fighting and you mash the buttons and pick up bicycles and beat them up, but you never shoot anybody.
But that one's set in an ancient time or something, right? Or am I thinking?
No, it's takes place current day.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right.
He did not play so much Dragon Quest.
Oh, you're talking about
like
Ishin.
His opponent should hit him.
There is one Ishin which came out recently, which is all the Yakuza characters, but in feudal Japan.
Oh, the same characters? It's crazy. Not like
they do that all the time.
Same actors. It's weird. Like it's everyone you recognize from every Yakuza game, but it's set in feudal Japan for some reason. And I haven't played it, but they're not playing their characters. It's like actors playing other characters.
Weird.
Which is kind of a neat idea. Like imagine Marcus Phoenix is in Mario Wonder, but he's not Marcus Phoenix. It's just the act. It's just the actor.
It's like, hi, I'm Bob.
Yeah. No, he's gonna play Mario. He's your Mario.
Oh, that'd be good.
That'd be all right.
Slap a mustache on him. He'd be a great actor to play. Actor, I say in quotations, to play Mario.
They do that kind of stuff with Yakuza. They get really weird with it sometimes, and it's kind of a joy to see.
We were talking about game length and how a lot of people are complaining that Spider-Man 2 is shorter than the previous games. They're not really. The Marvel's original Spider-Man, the one from 2018, was 17 hours for the story, 25 or so if you want to do everything. This new one, 28 if you want to do everything, and slightly more, looks like 18, 19 hours to beat the main story. It's actually a little longer. I think people have weird memories.
I thought it was a good length. I liked it.
Did you feel like it didn't overstay its welcome? Because sometimes open world games that are 400 hours definitely feel like they overstay their welcome.
Yeah, it didn't. I was ready to finish it when I got to the end. Like the side quest stuff that I could have done, I was not particularly interested in doing. Yeah. So I wasn't really feeling any draw there. And I was like, no, I'm pretty much ready to see it in. Now, if the story had suddenly branched and gone into another direction, like absolutely I would have played more of it. Mm-hmm. So I think maybe sometimes people confuse, like, I don't think it's long enough for I just want more game. I do think we're going to get it. I do think the last game had some Black Cat story DLC that kept coming out. There are some slight, not unresolved. They have plenty of threads that they can pull on for this. One major one feels like if it isn't in DLC, you spend too much time dealing with it for it to be sequel bait.
Oh, wow.
So I would bet money I know the direction that the sequel is going to go into. And it's so funny because I think the game did a really good job. This is how they do their side content. It's really smart. As if I didn't talk about Spider-Man.
I know, sorry. That's kind of my fault for bringing up the thing,
but
go ahead.
The smart thing they do is they give you missions, right? So it's like go stop this. And you go there and you go to the base, you beat people up. And they're like, all right, we found another base. Go there and beat them up. So you do like one or two of these things, but then they throw in like a big cutscene and story beat that pulls you in. So like one of the early things was I was fighting crimes and there were all these people that were just starting fires.
Yeah.
and they were just like they were called the Cult of the Flame.
Mm.
And I was sitting there and I was like, who in the Spider-Man universe would be the Flame? Like, do we got a bunch of Johnny Torch, like Johnny Storm, Human Torch worshippers?
Sure.
Like, what is this going to be? So I wasn't that interested in it,
Yeah.
but it was something to do. And then I got a cutscene, and then you see who the cult leader is, and he's called the Flame. And the flame icon is a fire with a spiral in it, and he's a red-headed gentleman. And I was like, is this what I think this is? And suddenly I'm intrigued, right? And so that's what the game does really, really well, is establishing breadcrumbs where it's like, oh, I want to see how this evolves, and I want to see, where this story is going to go. And I think that's just a smart design on how to get people interested in your weird side activities. But there were a few of those that I was not particularly interested in. I was like, I'm good. So the only things I felt like the game could have been longer on is some story beats felt rushed, but we're talking minutes longer, not hours longer.
Yeah. Just starting to see I feel like there's a general trend toward this, or maybe gamers' perception of it. I don't know. That games that used to be huge are getting smaller because that's how they're going to make more money, spend less to make it. And I know it's a little conspiratorial, which is why I'm not really latched onto it. But I felt like there was a lot of talk around Spider-Man around that. There's definitely talk about that around Mirage, Assassin's Creed Mirage, which is definitely shorter than they're usually making them. It's also a little less money, not a lot, but a little. $10. So I don't know. That may be an interesting conversation one day, because if more AAAs cut out more content and really deliver shorter but tighter gameplay, tighter storylines and stuff, are people going to be torn about what they should complain about? Should they complain?
Yeah, I think that's our job. Like where we gotta do our part for avoiding this bubble burst thing that I talked about, is to be more okay with like, did you play Spider-Man 2 and have a wonderful time? Yes, then be happy. Don't sit there and go, but it was only 18 hours. Like you have to be able to rein in your own expectations a little. Like I did not go into it thinking it was going to be a 100+ hour RPG. Like I don't know. Like there's a weird expectation there.
Yeah.
And I get that maybe that comes with video games getting more expensive, or maybe you go, well, it's got 2 Spider-Men in it, so that should be double the Spider-Man. Like I don't know what the mental math on that is, but we also have to be okay with games like kind of just being good and being what they are and going, oh, that was great. I enjoyed it and I enjoyed my time.
Mm-hmm.
And that's okay if we don't want AAA again to disappear completely, because it can't get bigger every single game. That's unsustainable.
I agree. Neither can their corporate profits, but they still try to do that. So we'll see what they do. We'll see how in perpetuity they can keep growing. All right. So Like a Dragon, still rad. Started it up again. You're playing. We'll see how that goes.
Still from the beginning?
Yeah, did you start
yes,
over?
I did, because I couldn't
And how far are you?
Not very far at all.
Oh, okay.
I
remembered
in the early hour of playing it that I had to watch Road to Perdition.
If you feel like crying and like what I did the core daily video about this, but what I love about Yakuza games is they make you really want to beat up the bad guy.
Yeah.
Like it's always a bad guy to beat up and you're like, okay, it's boss time. But like they always just drop in 2 minutes of like something really shitty that they're gonna do to make you really in the mood for beating them up.
Yep.
So this game has some good ones. So yeah, and you'll cry, I think.
Oh, John's gonna cry, is he?
It's not hard. You can find internet evidence of me crying. I'm pretty
but
sure.
it's a real tear jerker as it goes on. It's very melodramatic. The juice is worth the squeeze. So just stick with it. I recommend it.
My favorite. I like that. I like juice is worth the squeeze. My favorite thing in the last couple of days is completely unrelated. Is a GIF of John that I made from a video someone else posted of you eating an apple on one of your streams. Let me just show it to people real quick. It's a good time. I want to feel about things the way John feels about this apple slice that he is eating, because he is so jazzed about it. Look at this, you guys. Here it is, Chad. I'll put it up on the screen. Look at him go to town, and then look at the review after.
Yeah.
Look at that bite. Boom. Bite flavor. Nothing but fist.
Good gift. That's the baby meat, isn't it?
It kind of is. Yeah, the little like victory baby.
Oh yeah, like victory baby. Yeah.
I feel like at some point someone's gonna write an article about this is victory, baby, all grown up. It's just like-
You're minutes away from a horrible TikTok making the rounds. It's gonna happen.
Yeah.
Anyway, just wanted to share that. Hope people at home enjoyed it. If you're not here live, then I'll just describe it. John's eating an apple and then fist pumping. It's fantastic.
yeah, that's
Pretty much it.
the person who created the video asked me if I was okay with them posting that. They're like, "Are you okay? Are you gonna be mad if I post this?" I was like, "No. If I do something stupid, that's fair."
I got
Like,
a similar.
I've already put it on the internet. Like, it's fair.
I got a similar request from the same person about other clips, and I told them this is already us online. This is already public. So any of this you take is fine. Go for
Yeah,
it.
this cute. It's kind of adorable that he was asking because it's cute stuff. Like if he had footage of me, I don't know, like under the Queen's Bridge,
Yeah.
I'd be like, maybe you want to check with me first before posting that because I didn't mean for that to get out.
Yeah,
but,
that wasn't. You didn't consent, but you are automatically consenting to show yourself right now.
Yeah, exactly.
That's
I
the
mean,
deal.
I don't tip. If it gets taken out of context, that's one thing. If like
right.
if
But
you
he's
put
not doing
me
that.
going, I hate this, and I do that, and you're like, yeah, I captured that React face, and then it's like a box of puppies gets shown, and then me going, I hate this.
Yeah.
Like, I don't
Yeah.
change the context.
We're not into that. But look, and we're not even saying Bo goes under that bridge and does anything under there. We're not saying that he does.
Who's to
anything.
say?
Yeah,
Maybe
who
he
is to
does,
say,
maybe he
though?
doesn't.
It was
It's
just
Bo's
an example.
business.
Don't go looking for
Bo's
footage.
business and maybe other people's, but mostly just Bo's.
We do a little dark web search later, see if I can find some of this.
They don't. When you go under the bridge, they don't exactly cotton.
Mm-hmm.
So you bring in cameras and recording things. There, the other fellas. I mean,
Yeah, the other guys in there that are there for the reasons you're there. They don't
they're just
want.
there to hang it under a bridge. It's Bridge Club under a bridge. Club.
Like-minded dudes hanging out.
Yeah, building bridges.
I mean, you'll see some of that in Yakuza Like a Dragon. So you know.
Really? I don't remember that.
Well, just there's
Not far enough.
bridges.
Oh,
You go under them.
but do you do things under the bridges, like Norm Macdonald style? Because that's what we're talking about here, right? Norm joke about the bridge.
No, I don't think you do norm under the bridge norm stuff.
Okay.
But there is. Well, there's still some, there's some under the bridge tangentially related business going on.
The diaper man,
the diaper Yakuza.
The man baby diaper scenes stick in my mind.
Yeah, those they're a Yakuza family that hang out together outside of work to enjoy being treated like a baby by a mommy dommy.
And no offense to anyone who's into that. I'm just saying.
That's just one of the many adult entertainments available in Yakuza Like a Dragon.
That's right. Play it today. Catch it while it's still available. John, let's talk about a little catch up here on Frog Wrestling. I see everyone's wrestling in a warehouse or something. What is going on here? What do we got?
Yeah, we had a backstage fight. Bo, it's unclear at this point, I should say. People believe Bo jumped Brian Dunaway post-match for a backstage brawl. A fight backstage did break out between Bo and Brian Dunaway. Unclear who instigated it. But this is a thing that happened, and we're continuing a lot of stories here. Core is now 2 people. It's you and Brian Dunaway. Everybody else got kicked out.
Yeah.
And the wrestling world is still recovering from these dramatic changes.
I like that wrestlers, if they break into a fight in the back room, just fight like wrestlers.
Yeah, and you just film it. Yeah. And you just put cameras on it, and you just let them fight it out. Let them get it out of their system.
It's like they can't just punch each other like at a bar. They have to do grapples and flips and teabagging and whatever you do.
Yeah, the notorious wrestling teabag maneuver.
Or no, what's Bo's called? Oh, the taint one. This taint no thing.
Yeah, taint no thing.
Very normal.
He did not deliver a taint no thing. Actually, there's a lot of worry that Bo's new headset was broken in this fight because he took a lot of face plants onto concrete with that fancy new headset.
Oh no!
Gosh, dang.
And
dude.
Bo did ultimately lose this fight, so there is concern about the future of the VR headset after this.
So wait, Bo, you picked this fight.
When will I reach rock bottom?
Yeah, when does that happen? Did you? So you picked this fight and then lost this fight? That's pretty dark.
Well, we don't know if he picked it. We just know that a fight broke out.
Okay.
I probably picked it. I'm pretty salty. I'm sliding.
Yeah.
I'm losing one match after another. A rematch. Scott still lost. I'm depressed.
Yeah, kicked out of core. I went on a big losing streak. When I got kicked out of core, it just sort of happens. Like, it's weird.
Oh,
You
man.
get kicked out, and then one moment you're on top, next moment you're losing every match you're in. Ben stealing title matches from you. It's brutal.
It's a brutal
not good.
fight. This fight in the warehouse is brutal, dude.
Yeah, it gets real violent.
Yeah.
But we got some big things coming up.
Yeah.
I'm doing Pond News updates every Monday. There's short little videos letting people know what's going on in Frog Wrestling, what happened the previous week, storyline updates. I do want to eventually see if I can bug you guys for clips or promos or something to throw on. That
totally
thing, 'cause that
down.
would be
Totally
super
ready for
fun.
it. I'll even wear jorts for that. I'll cut some jeans. I will. I'm doing it.
That's way more than I expected, but I am not going to say no to it.
Hell yeah. I'll cut some jeans. I'll make my own jorts because I don't own any. And I will do whatever you want. You tell me, I'll do it. That sounds great.
Yeah.
You also played Fortnite. That's weird.
Yeah, I know.
That's weird. Yeah.
I know. Speaking of palate cleansers, I did
Big
play a
normie
couple of
weirdo.
matches of Fortnite. I did link a YouTube video.
Yeah.
So Michael Myers,
Yeah.
Halloween icon, not the Canadian comedian.
No.
He got added to Fortnite.
Yeah.
And that's fine. But what really is good is how much the emote that you get with him, how good it is.
It's crazy how much is involved in it.
It is so good.
Yeah.
So for people that can't see, and it's mostly audio, the emote, you don't necessarily have to be Michael Myers either, but basically a keyboard manifests in front of you, and with the right hand, you start playing the Halloween theme, the and then with the left hand, when it gets to the deeper notes, the dun dun, you lift up a butcher knife and stab the keys to play those notes.
Here, I'm gonna play. I'll play a little bit of it here. Here you go.
Yeah.
Here you go. So he's just playing it like a piano, and then he's stabbing the keys. It's too good, dude. That's great.
I liked it so much. I went, well, I gotta get it while it's available. It's probably not gonna be available again for a year because it'll go away until Halloween next year. So I logged in to get it, and then I bought it. And then I went, well, I just went to all this trouble to buy it. I gotta play a match or two with it. So then I did that. And so I don't know.
What's the point of buying it
and
if I
then
don't play a
because
match or two?
Fortnite does the shitty practice of like you have to buy more coins than what the thing costs. I had extra coins.
They all do it.
And I had just enough, not just enough. I had slightly more than enough to buy the season pass. So I bought the season pass.
Of course you did.
And
You're
now I
back in,
feel
dude.
obligated
You're playing
to play
Fortnite
the game.
now.
Yeah.
I'm like, oh,
Yeah, you're a
shit.
Fortnite player again. That's
Well,
how this-
because okay, so here's why I bought it, because I've said multiple times now that I don't like this season pass. Like, it's just not for me. I'm not really interested in any of the stuff in it. That's just how I feel. But there is a side quest line to the season pass. It's not even part of the season pass that unlocks Ahsoka, and I think I'm gonna do that so I can get my Ahsoka skin.
Nice.
And then I can feel good. Then I can feel like this was money well spent, and I did fine.
And you gotta earn so many bad skins to get that Ahsoka skin, it seems like.
No, you can actually work on the Ahsoka quest independent.
Oh, really?
So there's no rank. You can start unlocking Ahsoka stuff immediately.
Oh.
Okay.
So I don't have to play through to any particular rank. And yeah, I can actually see in chat, it's been a terrible season. I don't like it so far. I will say that, like, if you're looking for this Fortnite season review, I haven't played that many matches, so this is not comprehensive, but I do not like this season so far.
All right.
Can I ask you a Ahsoka question, though? This goes to something we discussed before.
Yeah.
When they put what's her name? Diablo lady, dear mother. What's her
Lilith.
name? Lilith. Jeez.
Yeah.
They put her in Warzone as an operator.
Yeah.
And I was curious about that one too, so I tuned in to see how her hitbox was arranged. And you can shoot at her big giant horn head, and it will not make any difference if you hit her horns or any of the extra bulk. She only has a hitbox for a human-sized head.
Yeah.
It just shoots through the other stuff. So in Ahsoka's case, I had this whole conversation months ago where we talked about her head being a liability in a shooter. Is it
You're wondering if they had erogenous zones?
No. Oh yeah, that's where we were going with it.
That's what he was worried
I forgot about that, but that was mostly John because he was talking about Twi'leks and they're
I think it was mostly you.
What was it? I don't remember.
I just was curious if they ever just put it in their mouth and if that was considered taboo.
That's where that started, and then we got deeper and worse. But my point is, when you're playing her in Fortnite, and are you a worse target? You're certainly more visible because you got that big old head, right? People see it.
I don't know. I would have to test it. I haven't tested it, but there are so many skins in Fortnite that like Ahsoka doesn't even like. I don't think she would even be in the like top 50 liability skins. Like there are some like. Okay, full disclosure. I bought another thing while I was on the store. I gotta admit to this, it wasn't relevant at the time, but I spent more money on Fortnite, a game I'm barely playing right now, because they were selling a stupid Transformers pack.
Oh yeah, they had okay.
I bought Bumblebee and Megatron, and then they also made a Transformer out of the battle bus. And there's a pack of them together, and I bought it because I'm having a midlife crisis involving buying Transformers stuff, and just let me have my midlife crisis. It's still cheaper than buying a sports car.
No, but you're right. It is. It's better than golf. If you were a golfer and you were going to a golf club every weekend, you'd be paying way more money. You're fine. This is a good thing.
Yeah. I didn't buy that giant life-size Optimus Prime.
No.
I would have if I won the lottery that night, but I
would
didn't.
loved one of those.
But like Bumblebee, like he's as big as a skin can be, and he's bright yellow. Like he's way more of a liability on a map than Ahsoka. There's people with glowing heads.
Yeah.
There's people that like literally they look like they got a bullseye on their head. There's people that like shine.
Yeah.
Like, there's a lot of stuff that are way worse than Ahsoka. But I am curious if you can.
Skins last week in Diablo, and now it's spreading.
Oh no, the disease is spreading. I forgot what you bought. What did you buy? Did you buy a horse or something?
I bought a particulate. Particle effect bow and full uniform, but just for the bow.
Stuff
you didn't buy the new sexy transmog that people linked.
Oh, no. There's a sexy transmog?
Yeah, there's a sexy transmog.
Well, let's take a look. Who's got that?
Somebody tweeted the core Twitter account with it.
Let me see here.
Actually, I'm showing something as part of my section, so I actually have the game client open. It's not that I'm playing the game.
Okay.
I just randomly happen to have it open. So hang on.
All right, let's take a look.
I can show you.
Whoops, there's Bell's screen.
Let's see the.
All right, so there's.
Shot.
I don't know why it's lagging, but it's lagging.
It's probably just a capture thing.
I think I have a lot of copies of stuff open.
Yeah,
it's this thing right here.
The beauty and sin. In sin.
There you go.
Could you have a dude version or just lady?
There is a dude version, but that's my character it previews on. I think if you pick an item, you can swap body type.
There you go. Pull that out. Right. Get us a
zoom out. I want to see what's going on downtown.
It won't.
Oh. No. All right. That's.
Oh, there you go.
Fine. That's less sexy.
I mean, if I'm, going to my fetish club, then I'm like, this is awesome. I want to wear this.
That's a pretty good fetish thing. Yeah.
And if it suits the Diablo aesthetic, but like, I don't want to wear it.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I'll show you what I bought. I bought the well, whatever.
Yeah, let's see your sword or the
blowy. It's not in the store right now.
I saw the Ahsoka owl in the store.
But I've got the, this here, the flames. See how it glows a little bit?
Oh yeah, it's a little bit of a glow. It's got the money glow. That's called money glow.
Yeah,
that's what that is.
Cash.
Cash. I got cash on my bow. Cash bow.
I always appreciated the a little bit on the nose move that Final Fantasy XIV did with its mount store, where the most expensive mount is actually a whale.
Yeah, I like that. That's how it should be. I feel
like it's just advertising truth.
Yeah, that's how it should be. The bigger the animal or mammal, the more money it should cost, Whales are mammals, right?
I think so.
Is that right? I think that's right.
Yeah, I think
it's been a while since I looked. All right, I will now stop searching sexy D4 transmog. Get out of that. Okay, there we go. Awesome. Speaking of which, Bo, Diablo 4 Season 2, Season of Blood, you're continuing to do that. Your rogue died.
Yeah.
What happened?
Sorry, I just got a knock at the door. 1 second.
Oh no, it's probably that neighbor going, "Where's my?"
Well, let me tell you about a game called Spider-Man 2, Scott.
Yeah, tell me about how long it is.
Spider-Man 2. Let me tell you about the video game bubble and Spider-Man 2.
Yeah, it's happening. Oh, Bo's back. That was your.
Bo's back.
I
All
hope-
right, good.
Was that your
Everybody-
neighbor?
All right, sorry, I'm back.
Was that your delivery neighbor by chance that you?
No, my mom's home, but I locked her out.
Oh well,
I
shit!
can't open the door for her.
Don't be doing that.
There's a lock you can't lock from the unlock from the outside.
Oh, I
And I
gotcha.
always, by habit, close it. I just close it again.
Safety first. I understand.
Yeah, so it was my bad. Anyways, Diablo.
Yeah.
So I wanted to talk to you. I wanted to update on Season of Blood
Mm-hmm.
because I hadn't fully formed my opinion. So I'm back to the display capture because I have something to show you guys.
All right, let's see what you got.
Where is it? Collections. I ripped. Hello.
I can hear you.
Yep.
You're there.
I ripped.
You ripped.
So I lost my
Died.
hardcore
He died.
character.
His
Oh, you
hardcore
died. That's
character
what
is
you say?
Permanently dead forever and
Yeah.
never going to come
Okay.
back to life.
You call
And
that
what's-
ripped? All right, that's fine.
And what's pretty funny about this here is that the rogue died. They both died at level 89 exactly.
Whoa.
So I'm showing my Hall of Fallen Heroes.
They're also the exact same lady.
Yeah. I mean, I don't change it up. I just play my.
Yeah, why
character.
take
He
advantage
knows
of a
what he
robust
likes,
character
Scott.
creator?
He doesn't need to experiment. He
Yeah,
knows.
sure. I guess not.
So,
yeah.
But what I wanted to point out, the reason I have it open to show you is this is my preseason rogue,
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
and the time. Look, you'll note the time played 186 hours at level 89.
Good lord.
Yeah.
That's how long I played. In season 2, level 89,
Yeah.
59 hours.
Wow,
That
they
is
really
a
did
lot
shorten it.
better.
Is
That
that-
that is a much better number.
Yeah.
So yeah, that was my whole reason for doing this. I'll turn it off now. My whole reason for just loading up the client was just to show how much has changed. Like I think that's a pretty big indicator of change in terms of how long it's going to take you to level up to a high level and experience this content and get the goodies and stuff. They have sped up this game like you wouldn't believe.
Well, they said 40%, right? Faster to get to 100. Did that feel like? Is that number?
Mine's the evidence points to way faster than 40% for me. That's like 60% faster.
Yeah, that's crazy. I mean, part of that is
So-
you're a pro at this point with the rogue. A
Yeah,
little,
but
a little
still,
bit of it, right? Just a tiny
it's
bit.
still but I mean, it still points to. It's still time put in. Like it's not like you avoid killing demons all that much in the game. That's kind of all there is to do. So you're pretty much getting juice the most of the time. All that to say is I've updated impressions from last week because I was enjoying it, but I actually want to say these changes have been really, really good. The game is really fun. I've bought I think probably 12 games in the past week.
Yeah.
On VR and on Steam. Lots of stuff I want to play. The only thing I want to do is play Diablo 4 right now. It's just hitting on all cylinders. It's fun. It feels faster. I might even have time for a second character now. I mean, I'm technically playing a second character. I've re-leveled my rogue. My rogue's already level 50. Like the replacement, the third rogue. I guess
Oh
you
my
could say, or
gosh,
whatever.
dude! Already.
Yeah, so I mean, and because I had a stash full of gear, it makes it even faster. But it doesn't take long to level anymore, and it's fun. And there's new stuff to do. I died to one of the new bosses on my first attempt, and I was kind of sleepy and didn't scroll of escape quick enough. It was just sleepy bow problems. I should have left. I got stubborn and didn't leave.
I love
thought
that
could take it.
this Diablo hook got into you again right at the time that you said, now that I'm going to, quit my full-time job and do this now and focus on this. You're like,
I know. I got so much to do, and I'm just like, man, I want to play. This is
I mean,
But
maybe
you know what?
this is a
It's
sign.
fine.
Maybe you're supposed to be a pro Diablo streamer guy now.
Maybe I can. Maybe I'll just be streaming lots of Diablo. I don't know. So it's just got its hooks in me. BlizzCon is next week, so I find that's adding to the excitement a little bit of playing Diablo, right? Because
Sure.
they have teased that there's going to be big announcements for Diablo 4 next week at BlizzCon.
Yeah.
So I'm kind of caught up in the hype playing Diablo and looking forward to more cool Diablo. I don't think I'll play like for weeks and weeks and weeks, but the season's really good, and the game's in a much better place than it was preseason. And if you play, I guarantee if you either of you pop it open, you'll get a taste and want to keep playing. So if you don't want that distraction, maybe don't play it. But if you're like, I want to get in here and play a little bit, I think you're going to find that you get hooked a lot faster because you'll be leveling, getting gear, and progressing, and just enjoying shit a lot faster. The vampire zones are pretty fun.
I updated it. I just need to get in there. I updated this week. I was like, I'm going to play this week. I did the same thing with I reinstalled the Warhammer Darktide deal. Had full intentions to get in there.
We got to figure out a time when we can play. But yes,
there's also a bunch of people in our community. There's people in our community trying to get Heroes games going again. I noticed.
Well, we played some Heroes with the community. I played some Heroes with the community last week, I think, like a week ago.
Yeah.
And it was fun. It was a good time, So
I may do a little more of that too. I want to play that.
I missed that. I've been people who've listened to me say like I'm going to do a classic WoW run. Like I've subbed to WoW so I can get into classic. I haven't started that yet either. One guy was like, "I'm already level 60. Where are you, buddy?" And I'm like, "Well, I am off work, but I'm like I'm cleaning my room. Like I haven't touched my room in 6 years. I'm like taking a few days to like sort out my clothes and shit. Like I'm just kind of going through a corporate restructuring at this point a little bit with my time. So, and yes, Diablo's getting in the way of that being efficient at all.
Yeah.
And I closed out the last of my work deliverables that I kept for myself after leaving the job. So technically I was still working on things for work up until yesterday. And that's done. Weight off my shoulder. I feel a lot better this week than I did last week.
Oh, good. Yeah. You seemed tired last week. A lot of people, which is totally understandable. A lot of people took them. Well, I shouldn't say a lot of people. A few people on YouTube took that as some kind of slight that Bo hated everything. And I'm like, no, he's just tired, you guys. He's just a little sleepy.
No, I was pretty exhausted. Like I was.
If I got proof of this, just real quick, I can prove it. Bo set up a lot of the show notes this week. And for the main topic this week, he put last week's main topic. And I was like, Bo, did something else happen with the Activision Blizzard thing?
The
like,
ABK
is there a reason why you wanted that to be the main topic 2 weeks in a row? And he's like, I forgot we talked about
that right there is proof. That's proof. You were tired.
That's true. I did forget we talked about it. But yeah, no, I'm just generally experiencing burnout from the schedule I was keeping for the past 7 years.
Yeah,
so
it's a lot.
I'm just recovering and reorienting and setting myself back up. So
it's exactly what
I was worried I had done this, but it's like setting expectations. Like the second I leave the work doesn't mean I'm blasting you with 18 hours a day of streaming content. You know what I mean? Like I'm trying to get oriented. I'm excited. And I'm sorry, I don't want to disappoint people by setting crazy expectations.
No, you're doing exactly what you should do. This is the right way to do it.
Yeah, I'm just getting good sleep every day. It's amazing. This week I've been feeling a lot better. I got personal stuff done yesterday.
Locked your mom out.
Feeling good.
Yeah.
What's that?
Locked your mom out.
I just did that now, but that's fine. I mean, she understands. As long as I open it right away, that's why I'm like, I have to get up. It's gonna be. I made it sound like I didn't know who it was. I'm like, it's probably her.
Yeah, mom gets it. She knows.
But anyways, there'll be more in the weeks to come. I'm just like corporate restructuring, cleaning my room, sorting out clothes I haven't seen in 7 years, and going, maybe I shouldn't wear that, or maybe I'm gonna like go for a little jog every day and have a workout routine and take work-life balance, and I'll fit in those pants come the summer. Or spring when we
might see each other. We might be seeing each other. Details soon, everybody, on an impossible thing. We'll just let you know now.
It reminds me, I gotta apply for my passport.
Shoot, that reminds me, I gotta get in shape and restructure everything about my diet and exercise.
Don't we all though? Like right now, things get colder. I get cozy. I get couchy. And
it's a bad time of the year to be making plans.
This is a horrible time for me to do this. I'm losing weight because of diet stuff, but I'm not anywhere in the shape I wanted to be by now. And I have to go see a doctor soon where they're going to go, all right, let's see how you did after 3 months of hard work and dietary change and all the working out you did. And I'm going to go.
They know you won't do it because my friend Mike like literally followed their instruction. They're like, you need to lose weight. So he lost like 2x the weight or something like that. And the doctor's reaction was like, whoa, nobody does what I tell them to do. Like,
He wasn't expecting it.
he
Yeah.
like took it way seriously. I gotta be healthy. Let's go. I'm like working out like crazy. They're like, dude, whoa, I
Yeah.
didn't expect. Okay,
That's funny.
You're one of those, I guess.
Anyway,
all right.
but you think Diablo 4 is on the right track these days? Feeling good, feeling tight.
Oh yeah,
Yeah.
And that is also it's confirmed by the ARPG community. But people still have it as it's second place to PoE. But a lot of the people who are the ARPG, I've been watching their VODs and interviews and stuff. Generally speaking, this is seen as a step in the right direction. The season was very fun, and it wasn't just the content of the season, but it was all the fixes came out with this season that people have been complaining about since launch. And the overall package makes the game feel a lot more fun.
Yeah.
And they're still working on it, just like sort of we talked about with City Skylines a little bit. Not that this was a buggy mess, but we know this game probably going to have. Ferguson says expansions with an S, going to have 2 expansions, maybe StarCraft 2 style. We can expect more fun and improvements and good stuff. They're so giddy. I'm wondering if we're not going to see not even just an expansion announcement, but just new content, like significant new content for seasons coming out in 3 and onwards. So I'm excited.
Yeah. I'm gonna get back in, give it a shot. I have to admit, I'm this much tempted to get it on Steam, even though I already own it on freaking Battle.net.
Play it on your Steam Deck,
so I can play it on my Steam Deck, and I can still arrange the other way of doing it, but it's a pain, and that's not on there anymore because I did an update that killed that. It's hard to keep up with, so I think I may do it so I can still have it that way, and I think I still tie into all my cross save and stuff. Because it's all
you're still logging into your Battle.net, so
yeah, I might do that.
It's weird that you have to buy it on there. You should just be able to activate a code. And
I agree, or a lower price or something. It's like $20. Okay, let's do that.
Yeah,
they're not going to
a
let me
bit
do that.
weird. But
Stacklands back in the world. I love that game. So what are you doing in there?
I do too. So I'm just starting a new save file. I don't know what I've seen that's new. I just bought it sight unseen. I'm like, there's a DLC purchase.
Yeah.
Like Stacklands is so good. It's so much fun. I was like, okay, well, I'll definitely buy that. I've only played a little bit, so I don't really know what it's called. Cursed Worlds. I think there's more portals to more boards because I think the main game you had one world you went to. You were building your main town, then you went to Cursed World, and then you came back to your main town with all the technology you learned from the Cursed World, and then you go back and forth.
Yeah. And for those that don't know, this is a weird indie card game that is almost unlike anything else I've ever played.
What this game does is it makes me wish I had the idea.
Yeah.
Because there's so many card games that are about battling or doing shit that's fighting. And this game's like, what if we take your Valheim or your city builder game non-violent and just make it cards?
Mm-hmm.
And that's like, and let's make it so that the cards, you can stack them like you do Magic cards, and they're fun to move around. And we give you a ton of quests. Like it's got a huge progression, a huge progression quest log, I guess you could say, that always gives you something to work towards. And you could lose your dudes.
Mm-hmm.
And monsters come, and there is a bit of fighting, but it's not very serious,
Do you ever play their sci-fi version of this? They have
right now. I've got 8 chickens, and you can't. Oh, it's funny about animals. I'll answer in a sec, but I want to say what's funny about animals, like chickens. They don't respect your cards, so they don't kill anything, but they'll excuse me, they'll knock around your other cards, and they're super annoying.
Yeah, they suck. I hate the chickens.
But you need chickens so that they hatch eggs.
Right. And you can also kill the chicken and get meat, but then you don't get eggs.
Yeah.
And
but then you don't have a chicken for egg. I think you can get a place where you can pen them in, but I don't have yet. I've got 8 chickens. They're knocking my cards everywhere. It's kind of hilarious.
Yeah. It's weird because you really are talking about a city builder, but it's represented with these cards. It's so weird. It's such an odd thing, and it works. It's just great.
That's why I'm like, I wish I had this idea. It's like, it works. It's inventive. It's just amazing. You process things by putting your dudes on them. You have sex, you take 2 dudes and have sex and make a baby.
Yep.
But the only thing that's kind of effed up about this game is that no one has names or lineages, right? So you can have 2 people bang, and then have a kid. That kid grows up, and then one of the parents can bang the kid.
Yeah, yeah.
And just make a kid. It's not that. I always think that's kind of messed up because I'm like, wait a second, which 2 people did I take?
Yeah. The class of card is called Villager. There's no gender. It's just Villager. and they're really nondescript. And you're right, that two villagers can have a villager baby, and that villager baby, when it matures to a full card, can then go have sex with one of its parents. It's all They kind of
I kind of wish they named them a little bit because I don't want to do accidental incest. It seems
well.
cruel,
See, I think that's where the not naming it is a good idea, because not naming it, you go, okay, well, this is a royal villager representation. It could be anybody.
Yeah.
This isn't representing John Smith. This is representing villagers, of which there are multiple villagers in here.
Right.
But as soon as you name it John Smith, then the second you have Linda Smith, and you're like, uh-oh. Well, now the only road to reproduction is a rough one here.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Well, so, I mean, in the wilderness, you do what you got to do to keep the family going.
Yeah. And also, this is so cheap. It's $7.99 here in the States, probably $9, $10 where you are in Canada. Plays on Mac and PC, got some of the highest ratings of any game on Steam. It's such
You'll start playing it, and 10 hours will disappear.
Yeah.
What the hell was I doing playing solitaire for 10 hours? It's crazy.
Yeah, if you have a mind for city builders, and even, I don't know what else I can compare this to. Like you might hear us describe it and go, well, it sounds like a board game. Like people sit down and play, I don't know, what's the one where you have wheat and food and stuff? What's that called? Anyway.
Banished?
No, the board game. There's a tabletop
Settlers
game.
of Catan.
Yeah, like Catan. You might go, well, it sounds like you're describing that. It's not the same. It still needs to be a video game because these cards interact and do weird shit. Some of them.
Yeah, well, you got to feed your villagers. That's
Right.
the major tension. So you got to produce food, or else they starve. And you don't just get resources; you get like rocks that you have to turn into other things and process. You have to process materials. You do it using your villagers. You can't really leave things on autopilot, although some things you can for a little while and find windows. And then you need to make gear to protect your stuff. And then, like I said, the irritating cards knock your other cards around. And this game's really big on keeping your cards organized. So you know, like, where everything is. Like, see, some of the stuff you're showing has the cards organized. Then a monster comes in and knocks it all over the place.
Yeah.
That's the most offensive part, but it's adorable. You're like,
Yeah, and it's
guess that's
fun.
what they're
It's
supposed
fun to
to do.
scramble and go. It's almost like when you turn on natural disasters in a SimCity game or something, except in this case, the natural disasters or unnatural disasters as they may be, they come and barrel through your cards and F up your organization. And it sort of has the same effect, but it's done with cards. It's so weird. It's a weird game.
That's the inventive part is to take all these mechanics and abstract things you know about those kinds of games and just did it card style.
Yeah.
And
You mine like a stone card, and when the timer ends, a little rock card, like the pieces that you got in an iron or whatever, they fly out of the card, and now it's a card of its own, and it's really something. It's really cool.
They have behaviors, and every sound. I think a lot of it too is the audio. Everything has a cute, adorable kind of sound, like a rock will go dunk, and a wood will have like a wood sound.
Yeah,
and things will go.
Yeah,
like just everything makes a sound and has a physical reaction, even if it's slight. It's it's great.
It's really something. It's awesome. I don't know about the sci-fi one may be a different developer, but it's very similar.
There's a sci-fi one to this?
Yeah, I'm trying to find it. It's like called. I even bought it. Where is it? Crap. I'll have to track this down. But there's a version of this. I swore it was the same developer because it plays just the same. Maybe somebody really duped it, but.
I mean, I want to rip it off.
Yeah, I mean,
like I can make this in Godot. Well, eventually.
Yeah,
but like what do I need? Some cards. Some we just need some drawings, and they just got to do things.
Like, you can do it in the back. You can do it over a weekend, Bo. That's what we've learned. You can do that.
Not a weekend, but I feel like this is. I feel like this is
a new Sim City and Vampire Survivors.
Maybe not in a weekend, but I feel like it's definitely within an achievable realm for a solo or a small team developer. You know what I mean? We're not making Gears of War 7 or whatever.
I know it's in here because I played it, but it's basically same idea, but in a sci-fi setting. It's like you're collecting weird crystals and trying to build a base.
Awesome.
Yeah, I'll try to track it down.
They're fun little time wasters, and it's great.
Good game.
Big recommend.
Glad you're playing.
I don't know about the expansion. I assume it's good too. I didn't get too much in. I don't even know it's in the expansion. I didn't get much.
You didn't get there.
Much of it. I played for like 2 or 3 hours.
What
I ended up doing is there's a cap, so I built like 80 sheds.
Yeah.
Like I hate having the card cap, so I build 80 sheds to increase my play space and card cap.
That's amazing. That's how life should be. All right, then you played a thing that I cannot wait to hear about because this looks like my jam. I 100% want to play this. Tell us about Backpack Battles.
This is on the influencer. This is on the influencer circuit right now. You know, streamers will play between their ranked matches.
Right.
Other people have been playing it. You know, like how Loop Hero hit big and stuff like that.
Yeah.
It's a game in that vein. So, you know, graphically, I mean, the art is nice and this client is nice, but it's not blowing your socks off either. But what is this game? So it's an auto chess game.
Yeah.
Or an auto battler like Hearthstone Battlegrounds or, you know, those kinds of games. Except the premise here is you pick a hero, and right now there's only two, Elf Girl and
Elf Boy,
I guess
right?
like Goth Girl.
Oh, I didn't see the other one.
Is it a boy? I mean,
I don't know.
It might be a boy.
They have ears. They have big animal ears. It's stuff John.
It doesn't really matter. One's an archer, the other's a graveyard lady or person.
Yeah.
And the general, I don't even know. Actually, I don't even know if they have mechanics. I think they do. I've only played as the archer boy or girl.
They have stat advantages or stat differences mainly, right?
Like I just played it total casual style where I just clicked and did the things that looked fun, and I will maybe later. I was trying it out, right?
Yeah.
And so the way this game works is you start with a little backpack and some items in it, and the items are what you use to build your character. Like think Diablo, right? If you got a sword in your backpack, you get +1 attack. If you got food, you can eat the food every 5 seconds and gain 1 HP. And you take your backpack to another real player, presumably. I don't know if they do AI bots or not. Yeah. But once you're done buying shit in the store, you go to start a backpack battle, and you fight your backpack versus someone else's backpack.
Yeah.
And then you come back to the store after the match, whether you win or lose. And it's like a number of losses and you're out, and you try to go for a number of wins. So it works like Arena in Hearthstone in that sense. And you can buy more. You can add on to your backpack, make bigger backpacks. You can buy items, combine them into stronger items. It's got that Resident Evil inventory management where you got to try and fit everything into the backpack. If some stuff is next to other things in the backpack, it makes them stronger. You know, and it's sort of tweaks a lot of, like, I think, gamer pleasures, right? Which is like Resident Evil style inventory management. I'm not sure if that's people's pleasures, but they made a whole game about it, so I think it might be.
Could be.
And you know, and it has that PvP element where you're trying to make an awesome ass build based on the items you get in the store, right? So,
right.
And also that's a very popular game mode, Battlegrounds. So, you know, I barely scratched the surface. There's a ton of items. Like I'm even looking at stuff in the screenshots. I'm like, I don't even see any of these. So it gets fairly complex. But you know, the basic stuff is easy. You have stamina and health. If you run out of stamina, you can't attack, so you have to regen it. You run out of health, you lose. Mm-hmm. And your items just sort of proc, and it's all automatic. And that's how it goes. And there's barely any animations to it. Your JPEGs just kind of twirl around a little bit and go ooh ooh when they get hit, and they go thuk thuk when they hit, and that's about it. It's very.
But you know what I like about this, and before I know I'm going to get emails about this, and they're going to say, Scott, you hate tower defense, and I do. But I also understand that this is a little like that. It's a very different approach, but it's like, let me establish a bunch of stuff in my pack that I think will make me outlast the other guy. Now let's just auto fight. I realize there's parallels, but for me, this kind of thing, Loop Hero is another good example of another way of doing that. They work for me. Like this kind of stuff totally compels me to want to play this. Everything you've said, everything I've seen, this looks freaking great.
It's like, I guess I can see the parallel to a tower defense, you know, but it's more like making a Diablo build. It's more like the backpack fits all the items. The items are just zany and wacky. Mm-hmm. You know, like I had one build that did really well because I had 3 bananas in my. Didn't even do anything. It was just very overpowering on health regen because I just had 3 bananas. I was like, you know, it's like it's weird. And
yeah, that's weird.
You know, like yeah. So
it looks great. It's only in demo right now though, and it was no release until next year, so it's demo only.
And they beg you to wishlist it, and there's a patch on the 22nd adding new items and stuff like that. So the momentum on this one is strong.
They're probably shitting themselves. Can you imagine? You're a small little developer. This is your first game, because I think it is. I'm looking here. And it just takes off like this. What a feeling that must be. It's just be like, and then you got to worry about making sure you don't screw up, you know? Because when every influencers are playing your game, this means big sales at launch. You're gonna do well.
Except they have no sales, right? It's just that's the other thing. Just free to play, guys. No money.
Yeah, it's just a demo.
just go play it. It's free. Just try it for 30 minutes. Like, it's fine.
Yeah, I need to play this. This is a game I'd play on mobile because it'd be a fun just time waster.
Yeah, I mean, you can play this on phone probably. I'm sure.
Yeah,
they probably won't bring in a phone, but like it's very simple. Like all auto battlers, it's simple, but you get kind of lost in the. You get lost in, you get a good run and you get really into it, right? You're just like, oh man, like, let me get this item and build this. And,
that's great.
Yeah.
Well, there you go. That is the games we played. Now, here's the deal. We take a break to go pee and stuff, as you should at home as well. When we come back, we're going to do a Steam review about a real zinger of a dinger this week. Okay? So that's coming up from Dear Martha, I should say. We got a bunch of extra news to talk about. We got emails and a voicemail. It's a lot. So stay tuned or come back or whatever it is. Just don't leave. And we'll be back shortly.
Never.
Okay, we're back, everybody. Real quick, do we think at BlizzCon next week, because it is next week, we'll get an announcement about that crafting game, or that not crafting survival game, I guess is what it is more like?
We should. They better. Not from a player perspective, they better, but we just talked about chasing trends.
Yeah.
I mean, they're going to take years to